vital installations in Jammu, whether it was Jammu airport and other army installations in Jammu, Udhampur and other places. But our alert security forces foiled the nefarious designs of Pakistan. We had already activated our air defense system S-400, and with the help of that we were able to repel Pakistan's attacks, not only in Jammu and Kashmir but also in neighboring Punjab, because Pakistan also tried to target the air base in Pathankot district of Punjab. We have successfully shot down 3 fighter jets of Pakistan. This includes 2 JF-17 fighter jets and 1 F-16 fighter jet. So Pakistan is rattled. It tried to escalate tensions. It tried to target Jammu city and other places, but our alert troops on ground have foiled the nefarious designs of Pakistan. We had already activated our air defense system, and with the help of that we were able to shoot down Pakistani drones and Pakistani missiles. With video journalist Neeraj Kumar, this is Sunil Bhatt reporting from outside Jammu's airport for India Today.
And here's a big statement that came in from the Pakistan Defence Minister Khwaja Asif, who says Pakistan is ready to wrap up tensions, as he puts it, with India if New Delhi de-escalates the situation. All along, while India has maintained that our response, again let me highlight that this is a response, has been de-escalatory all through.
Some of the countries in the Arabian Gulf also, who were close to us, and obviously they have a good relationship with India also, they have also advised that de-escalation should take place immediately. But India is making it, it's almost impossible. Every day there is an incident which raises the bar of conflict in the subcontinent.
And what the Pak Defence Minister there fails to mention is that India has been responding to Pakistan hitting our military establishments, Pakistan hitting our civilian establishments, or at least attempting to strike. The External Affairs Minister, Dr. S. Jaishankar, yesterday was in fact in a bilateral with the Iranian foreign ministers on a visit to India. And the External Affairs Minister gave a very, very stern message saying India does not intend to escalate tensions with Pakistan, but we have every right to give a firm response if there are military attacks on India. And that has been the stated message of the government.
Excellency, you are visiting India at a time when we are responding to a particularly barbaric terrorist attack on 22nd April in the Indian Union territory of Jammu and Kashmir. This attack compelled us to respond on 7th May by striking at cross-border terrorist infrastructure. Our response was targeted and measured. It is not our intention to escalate this situation. However, if there are military attacks on us, there should be no doubt that it will be met with a very, very firm response. As a neighbor and a close partner, it is important that you have a good understanding of the situation.
So let's highlight for you really why we're saying that India's always responded, and we've been de-escalatory responses essentially that we've resorted to. We just put out a comparison for you of how Pakistan repeatedly is the one which has triggered a response from India. First you had, of course, the Pahalgam terror attack, April 22nd, when you had Pakistani terrorists bleeding India, targeting 26 Hindus, 26 tourists. On May 7th, right after that, India made it very clear we will go after these terrorists. And so we struck at 9 terror camps. Not a single civilian establishment was targeted in Pakistan, not a single military establishment. That was made very, very clear by the government as well. Operation Sindoor was all about targeting the terror hubs. Essentially, we did Pakistan a favor. 9 strikes had taken place. Now, right after that, Pakistan attempted a drone attack on 15 different locations. This was on the intervening night of May 7th and 8th. It failed completely. What they did is, when we had targeted terror hubs, what do? There are no terror hubs in India to target. They started firing at military establishments. Now, India has made it very clear that we won't sit back and watch if Pakistan attacks us. And so while we thwarted the attack, we also responded in kind. India then conducted a drone strike, a counter drone strike in Pakistan, where in fact we went ahead and targeted Lahore, Rawalpindi and other locations as well. This was also in Sialkot. Now, right after that, last night, what we saw was Pakistan attempting another attack on India. And this time, they went beyond military establishments. They also tried to go ahead and target several of the civilian establishments, some of the most populated areas along the border. The Jammu airport, Jammu University, Akhnur, we've highlighted some of those locations for you. All of these were targeted again. Every drone, every missile was brought down by our air defense system. And India then fired its counter. Again, let me highlight here, tit-for-tat response, India responding after Pakistan attempts to hit us. And so this time what we've heard is that Peshawar, Lahore, Bahawalnagar cantonment have been hit in those counter-strikes by India. So we've been seeing these incidents taking place non-stop, essentially, of Pakistan attempting to hit us, and then we are responding, because we reserve the right to respond when someone tries to target our military establishments, our civilian establishments, which is why India has said that we've been maintaining at this point that we are responding. Let's cut across to breaking news coming in. Pakistan, in financial doldrums, is now seeking that bailout package from the International Monetary Fund, where it filed an appeal. But India, remember, is seeking a pause on Pakistan's attempt to get funds from the International Monetary Fund. Now, Pakistan has sought $1.3 billion. The IMF will take a call this evening at 7:30 p.m. on whether Pakistan should be given that loan or not. Pakistan has been struggling with its finances, its economy is in bad shape. But India's message is very clear here to all of these international bodies, including the IMF, that you can't be handing out loans, you can't be handing out funds to a country that refuses to crack down on terror. Set a precedent, send out a message that unless you go ahead and crack down on terror hotspots in your country, get rid of terror bosses who mastermind and carry out attacks on Indian soil, you should not be giving them money right now. And India has been making that particular case before the IMF and several other international bodies as well. And that's why we are seeking a freeze on this attempt by Pakistan to get more money, a bailout package. Karishma Asudani of Business Today TV is joining us with more on this. Karishma, we understand the IMF will take a final decision at 7:30 this evening.
Well, absolutely right, Rakshita. Today evening, the meeting is scheduled to happen, and India's representative, Mr. Parmeswaran Iyer, will be on this board. This is also because India stands a very strong, takes a very strong position in giving their vote for this bailout package, which likely is definitely going to be a no, because India is very clear that they don't want multilateral financial institutions to fund Pakistan, as Pakistan's finances are involved across cross-border terrorism and money laundering, is why FATF was also involved. Now, Pakistan had managed to secure a $7 billion bailout program for IMF last year and was granted a new $1.3 billion climate resilience loan also in March. The 2024 program was Pakistan's 24th one. And today's will be another second tranche of the bailout, which will hold a lot of importance, the fact that Pakistan is already in a very fragile state when it comes to its fiscal and economic maps.
Okay, Karishma, thanks for those details. 7:30, we'll know if Pakistan gets that bailout package. They want $1.3 billion because they have, of course, been struggling with the economy being crippled and they're in a financial mess. India is citing the fact that Pakistan has failed to crack down on terror, so don't go ahead and help them out in any manner. Issue a deadline, tell them they have to crack down on these terror bosses, and then they can get that bailout package. Let's see what the IMF does. And here's proof that Pakistan simply doesn't care about its own civilians. It's been targeting civilians in India, and now you've got a Pakistan minister confirming that there are human shields for the army. The second line of defense, according to the Pakistan government, is actually kids, madrasa kids. This is the message that's come across. We're not saying this. The Pakistan minister has actually gone ahead and said you should put madrasa kids as your second line of defense in Pakistan.
मदारस के स्टूडेंट्स का ताल्लुक है, इसमें कोई शक नहीं है कि वो हमारी एक सेकंड डिफेंस लाइन है। वहाँ पे नौजवान जो पढ़ते हैं अल्लाह के फजल से वो दीन के साथ भी जो है आरास्ता हैं, और उसके साथ जो है वो उनके जो वक्त ज़रूरत जो है, जिस तरह उन्होंने फरमाया कि उनको शहरी दफा के लिए या दूसरी ज़रूरतों के लिए जो है ना बिल्कुल 100% इस्तेमाल किया जा सकता है।
So that's the Pakistan Defence Minister, Khwaja Asif, the Defence Minister, mind you, who's making that comment. And he's talking about kids, referring to them as students. So these are students who are studying in madrasas, who are now being used as a second line of defense. I want to bring in Shivani Sharma for more details on this. Shivani, is this standard for Pakistan to use students and kids in a conflict?
Akshita, we've been seeing this pattern even in Jammu and Kashmir when Fidayeen attacks used to happen by young children. And now Khwaja Asif, who's the Defence Minister of Pakistan, is exposing his modus operandi once again openly. And now he's saying the madrasa students are our second line of defence and they can be utilised in this time of crisis. Two times these kind of claims have come now. The Defence Minister is not only admitting that the army of Pakistan is weak, they do not rely upon their own soldiers, they need the students of madrasas. And second thing, how in the name of religion these children have been radicalized in Pakistan, that's also very evident. So Akshita, Pakistan is exposing itself each day. The mask is falling. India knows about Pakistan, what Pakistan has been doing, but now the world also acknowledges and knows what Pakistan is doing. And see such statements that have been coming in, these laughable statements from Pakistan's ministers that have been coming in after Pahalgam attack, they are just making Pakistan's picture dirty every day. And now they are admitting that they use young children as their shield, as the second line of defense.
Unbelievable, really, that this is what Pakistan is resorting to. But Shivani is right in pointing out that this is an age-old practice, really, by the Pakistan army. Thanks very much, Shivani, for joining us with those details. Let's listen in again to exactly what the Pakistan minister, this is the Defence Minister, Khwaja Asif, on record, talking about using students and kids as the second line of defence.
मदारस के स्टूडेंट्स का ताल्लुक है, इसमें कोई शक नहीं है कि वो हमारी एक सेकंड डिफेंस लाइन है। वहाँ पे नौजवान जो पढ़ते हैं अल्लाह के फजल से वो दीन के साथ भी जो है आरास्ता हैं, और उसके साथ जो है वो उनके जो वक्त ज़रूरत जो है, जिस तरह उन्होंने फरमाया कि उनको शहरी दफा के लिए या दूसरी ज़रूरतों के लिए जो है ना बिल्कुल 100% इस्तेमाल किया जा सकता है।
So ever since the tensions between India and Pakistan, there's been all sorts of fake news doing the rounds on social media. And here in India today, we're committed to breaking down for you what's real and what isn't. So let's take a look at some of the myths that we're busting. There's a video of a drone strike supposedly in Jalandhar that was widely being shared to create panic among the masses. Investigating this video has led to us finding that it was an unrelated video of a farm fire. Now, the video had the timeline of 7:39 p.m. The drone attack began much later. If you were tracking our live coverage, you would have seen that it started post 8 p.m. Now, the same was backed also by the DC of Jalandhar. Second video, an Indian post was claimed to have been destroyed by the Pakistan army in one of the fake videos spread online. The video was shared and amplified by a number of fake and unverified accounts. Fact check found out that the claim is completely false and confirmed that this was staged upon verification, since there's no unit called 20 Raj Battalion in the Indian Army in the first place. This video clearly aimed to mislead public and is a part of a coordinated propaganda campaign that we will repeatedly call out. Third fact check. An old video being shared on social media with the claim that Pakistan has launched a missile attack on India in retaliation. We checked this particular video doing the rounds, and it's actually of an explosion that took place in Beirut, Lebanon in the year 2020 that's now resurfaced to be going ahead and claiming that Pakistan launched a missile attack on India. This video too is fake. Let's get to the next set of fact check here. The claim being made about a Fida-in attack on an army brigade in Rajouri of Jammu and Kashmir, widely shared, widely circulated last night. Upon fact checking, the government confirmed that there is no such Fida-in or suicide attack that occurred on any army cantonment. The false claim solely intended to mislead and cause confusion. There's also a picture and a video that was doing the rounds. All of that now has been flagged off. So beware of these kind of news reports doing the rounds. A confidential letter that you see here, again on social media, which is being shared also on WhatsApp, claims the Chief of the Army Staff, General V.K. Narayan, who's not even the Army Chief, has sent a confidential letter regarding military preparedness to the Army Office of the Northern Command. Now, here's the fact. General V.K. Narayan, as I said, is not the Chief of Army Staff. This letter is 100% completely fake. It's not even an old one. It's just created, manufactured. And then there's the social media post, notoriously claiming that the Indian military used the Ambala Air Base to attack Amritsar and its own citizens. Imagine that. This has actually been doing the rounds. We found that the claim is completely baseless, part of a concerted misinformation campaign. The government has also provided a detailed press release of the Ministry of Defense, exposed the real picture. Please only follow those official communications. Let's get to our next set of fact checks. A social media post was allegedly shared claiming that entry has been banned into airports across India. Not true at all. That's a fake narrative. The same has been flagged by authorities. No such decision has been taken from the government. Again, I will reiterate, only follow official communications from the government. The fact that security has been beefed up at the airports is a fact, nothing more. Then there was a claim with pictures, videos that you see on your screens, which many shared on WhatsApp as well, of multiple explosions at Jammu Air Force Base in India with these pictures attached. Now, we checked these particular pictures and found that this is actually from the Kabul airport blast from a few years ago in August 2021. The next video that we're showing you, a video showing a heavy multiple launch rocket system, an MLRS barrage, is being falsely shared as a real Pakistani attack on India. We're fact-checking this particular video. It was revealed that this video is actually from a video game. It's been online for the last 3 years. It has absolutely no connection to the current India-Pakistan situation. This is a video that's been doing the rounds right now with claims that this is Colonel Sofia Qureshi leading Operation Sindoor. Remember, she's been part of the news conferences, and this is a video that people have shared saying this is her leading Operation Sindoor. This is actually a video from 2021. It's from the US Renault Air Race, and it's not even Colonel Sofia Qureshi. This is a pilot, Major Christine Beowulf, not Indian, and a pilot, not an army officer. So again, do not share this video. Completely fake, completely misleading. Now the next claim, massive army casualties at the Sanghar post opposite Pakistan's Chirikot sector, along with this video that's been doing the rounds of bodies being moved out. This is actually a video that was created from a 2007 photo where Indian Jawans carried out the body of a rebel. Just look at how misleading this particular video and picture is to claim that there have been massive army casualties. Not true at all. Let's get you the next fact check. This video, I'm sure you've seen this repeatedly. There are claims that this is a video of a Pakistan missile attack or drone strike in Amritsar from May 7th. The reality is that this is actually a video from 2024, from last year, which shows Israel's Iron Dome intercepting rockets from Lebanon, which has now been republished, doing the rounds again to claim that it is a video from the current India-Pakistan conflict. At all times, but even more so in moments of crisis, we are committed to delivering accurate, verified news. We believe it's our only priority. We're reporting now, of course, in unprecedented times and unprecedented conditions. Never before have newsrooms in India dealt with military operations at this scale, and in the age, importantly, of social media, of artificial intelligence, of AI. The past 24 hours have, of course, tested us, with escalation along the western border unfolding in real time. There have been multiple reports of clashes, of official statements, of social media speculation, even of deep fakes, hacked tweets, eyewitness accounts, all of this flooding our newsroom at such an unprecedented and relentless pace. Our team worked tirelessly round the clock, followed our very strict checks and balances and processes. Few early reports were incomplete or exaggerated in spite of all of our best efforts. And for this, we apologize. We will further strengthen our multi-pronged verification process and ensure that we bring you the most accurate information, and importantly, without compromising national security, the safety of our heroic forces and our reporters on the front. The India Today group has a robust fact-check team, India's most referred to fact-check team on X community notes, that's busting fake news on a daily basis. We will continue to invest in its resources and boots on the ground and eyes on the scene to deal with, this fog of war. Your trust drives us to uphold the highest journalistic standards. We don't take it for granted. So thank you for watching us non-stop, and through a very, very long night with all of us, with me, with my colleagues, reporters, and all the teams behind the scene. And continue to stay with us as we will get you our accurate, verified coverage on what's happening between India and Pakistan. I'm slipping into a very, very short break. I'm joining you with the headlines in just a bit.
Edge 60 Pro, the edge of excellence.
Motorola Edge 60 Pro. Hello, Moto.
Motorola Edge 60 Pro, the edge of excellence.
Hi, here are the top headlines presented by Motorola. Heavy tension on India-Pakistan border. 3 Pakistani fighter jets downed in Indian strike. Major meeting of Rajnath Singh with CDS and chiefs of the armed force.
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com.
So sorry.
Ui, ai da.
Good afternoon. You're joining us live here on India Today for our rolling coverage on the tensions between India and Pakistan. I'm Akshita Nandagopal, getting you all the updates that are coming in right now. We'll be counting down to the news briefing by the government that's slated to happen at 5:30, when details of what transpired last night between India and Pakistan are expected to come in. Let me take you through the headlines first. India hits back after Pakistan escalation. Heavy damages to Lahore and many Pak cities, according to government sources. Drone hits Okara cantonment in Pakistan. Prime Minister Modi and Mantris in huddles. Prime Minister monitors situation along border. Home Minister Amit Shah chairs border security meet. Rajnath Singh meets the three service chiefs. Seven infiltrators killed in Samba of Jammu. Suspected Jaish terrorists killed amid India-Pak conflict. Undetonated Chinese missile in Punjab field. Chinese PL-15 air-to-air missile recovered, likely from downed Pak JF-17 jet. IPL suspended amid India-Pakistan conflict. Decision on remaining IPL matches or for ongoing IPL likely to resume after a week. Let's begin with updates coming in on really what's transpired in the last 24 hours. Tensions with Pakistan escalating as strikes were launched by Pakistan again at civilian establishments at Jammu, Pathankot, Udhampur and other locations. India responded to Pakistan immediately. Reports suggest that heavy damages have been inflicted to Pakistani cities including Lahore. The Prime Minister, the Defence Minister, the Chief of Defence Staff, the three service chiefs have been reviewing the military ops very, very closely. Now, here's what our sources are telling us, that in the counter-strike by India, there have been damages inflicted to several Pakistani cities, including Lahore. And even when Pakistan's strike at several locations at Indian states completely failed, sources also say that one Pak F-16, two JF-17 jets were shot down. So 3 Pakistani fighter jets were shot down. Sources also say that the Pakistan air surveillance system was shot down and over 50 Pakistani drones were brought down, were intercepted. Pakistan's Okara cantonment was also hit by drones as per sources. Prime Minister Modi and Defence Minister Rajnath Singh are constantly reviewing the ongoing military operations. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh is in constant touch with the three service chiefs, assessing the real-time situation. The Defence Minister has also met with the CDS, the three service chiefs, and conducted a comprehensive review. These are pictures from that particular meeting in which you see Rajnath Singh along with the Chief of Defence Staff, along with the Army Chief, the Navy Chief and the Air Force Chief. Now, there's been a lot of talk about this particular picture because if you look at the body language of the CDS, the three service chiefs. You see all of them, their morale is high, they're all smiles, and that really tells you how India really feels about currently where this conflict stands and the fact that we've been able to repel, thwart every strike that's come in from Pakistan. Essentially, Pakistan army with no strategy has just been raining missiles, drones at India. Last night also sending across fighter jets. And we have information, of course, that 3 Pakistani fighter jets have been shot down. This was 1 Pak F-16 and 2 JF-17. Now, 5:30 this evening, we're going to be seeing a press conference by the MEA where more details are expected to emerge on exactly what transpired last night on the attempt by Pakistan to target our military bases and also civilian establishments. We understand from the statement that came in from the Ministry of Defense that Pathankot, Udhampur, Jammu were the targets essentially by Pakistan this time. I want to bring in Aishwarya Paliwal for the latest updates of what's happening in New Delhi, which is where, of course, all the decision-making is taking place. Aishwarya, as has been the case for the last many days, you're seeing non-stop meetings taking place. The CDS, the 3 service chiefs, have also met with the Defence Minister.
Well, one of the important things, Akshita, that we must remember is the fact that Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the top ministers, a very clear message has been sent out. In fact, Prime Minister, when he met all the leaders, he told them very clearly that you need not to panic. So that is something which all the ministries have also taken care of. In fact, if we speak about the finance ministry, today evening, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman will speak with the banks and will also speak with the stock markets and will make sure that we do a testing of sorts. Cyber attack is something that the government very clearly is looking at. So India now is preparing itself. You need to make sure that hospitals are working. That's what JP Nadda at the moment is doing. Finance Minister making sure that there is no cyber attack on the financials of our country. Also, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh meeting the 3 defence chiefs and speaking with them, understanding where we are standing when we speak about India's defence. So all those things are being done, but the government does not want any kind of panic to take place, which is why things are going as per schedule. The meetings are going on. The government very, very clear. We need to prepare ourselves, but do not panic. That's the big message coming in from the government at the moment. Akshita.
Okay, so you're seeing every ministry right now plugged into action, ensuring that all necessary steps are taken in every aspect, really, of this conflict and the repercussions, the ramifications it could have in different ways. So all ministries tuned in, plugged in, working to see that everything goes off smoothly and especially ensuring that there's no impact on citizens. But what we're talking about, the strikes that happened last night and how every attempt by Pakistan to target our civilians, to target military establishments was thwarted. How is that possible? This was across the stretch of North and West India when Pakistan attempted to fire drones at us, attempted to fire missiles. This aerial assault was neutralized completely by India. Our forces struck Pakistani air defense radars and systems also using anti-missile systems in a counter, a response. But let's focus for a moment on how we stopped these attempts by Pakistan. There were a couple of weapons really in our arsenal that proved to be game changers. The Akash-Tir, also known as India's Iron Dome, designed to automate air defense control and reporting, was activated. Akash-Tir has been developed by Bharat Electronics Limited. It can enable forces to intercept, neutralize any projectile because it gives you real-time data to precisely track aerial threats by collecting inputs from multiple radars and sensors. So this acts essentially, if you will, as a digital nerve center of air defense network. The Indian Air Force also deployed its reliable Sudarshan Chakra, the S-400 air defense systems. These long-range air defense systems can engage aircraft, cruise missiles and UAEs. You saw footage of that, of many of the missiles and drones being intercepted and exploding in the air. So the S-400 can hit multiple targets up to 400 kilometers, can track over 160 targets in a 600 kilometer range. It can also target 72 targets in a 400 kilometer range. India also deployed its 40 mm AA gun, upgraded with radar and sensors. The AA means anti-aircraft gun. It includes electro-optics, auto-tracking gear, can fire 240 to 300 rounds per minute, to 330 rounds per minute. Now, its effective range extends up to 4,000 meters, saturates airspace with predictive firepower. And besides that, the other weapon in our arsenal was the Shilka. These are self-propelled with 423 mm auto cannons. Radars can detect targets that are 20 kilometers away. So besides your long range, even at close proximity, the Shirka steps in. It can fire up to 4,000 rounds per minute. Let's bring in Kamaljeet Sandhu for more details on this. Kamaljeet, we clearly have a very, very robust air defense system. And that's why whenever Pakistan has resorted or attempted to strike at civilian pockets, at military establishments, we've immediately been able to intercept it so far. Not a single drone, not a single missile actually managed to hit the intended target by Pakistan.
Well, these are multiple drone strikes across multiple cities in India, but this just could be the beginning because many of these are believed to be surveillance drones. They were effectively dealt with, they were neutralized. Remember, as far as India mechanism is concerned, there is a robust one, as you were mentioning about. But remember, this could just be the beginning because, remember, Pakistan may just be testing waters before they actually try and do something of a misadventure once again. So remember, as far as India's action are concerned, they have been on cities of Pakistan and even in Rawalpindi, where Army Chief sits, and that's where that's the general headquarters for the Pakistani army. So that is when what Pakistan has been saying all along is also very important because one, they're saying this is a false flag operation. So they've not even claimed that the responsibility is of Pakistan, but that's nothing new as far as the country is concerned because remember, they have always claimed one deniability, whether it is about presence of launch pads of the terrorist operation operating from Pakistan or the POK. But meanwhile, also what we've seen is the sort of support system, and whether it is the Hamas leaders meeting very much in Pakistan with Lashkar-e-Taiba and Jaish-e-Mohammed, the commanders, it is also goes to show the sort of synchronicity they have. So this is where Pakistan Army and ISI have been pumping in not just money and arms and ammunition, but also have been sending in mercenaries. So yes, we have seen a number of infiltration, but there was one just about in the last 24 hours in Samba sector, which was foiled by the BSF. The visuals are for everybody to see about how there was a cover fire being given by the Pakistani post, which was eventually destroyed by alert BSF Jawans. So this seems to be an escalation of sorts, but remember, this may not just be over as many people are anticipating it to be. It could actually be worse because remember, Pakistan is still awaiting because they don't have any sort of a face saving just yet to show to their population, and that's the reason it does seem that they send in drones, especially surveillance drones in swarms, and this is where they were immediately neutralized, but there could be more in the offing, and that is why the security preparation, that is why the mock drills, and that is why there seems to be a lot of preparations in place. Remember the sirens going off, people being trained about this. So this is the level of alertness. But remember, as far as administration itself is concerned,
largely precautionary, Kamaljeet. We've taken a lot of precautionary measures to ensure the safety of our civilians, to ensure the safety of every single Indian. Kamaljeet, thanks for those details. I also want to put the focus on really how the IAF has an air defense umbrella, if you will, that's ensured that every single citizen is safe and that many of these missiles, drones were intercepted in the air. How has the Indian Air Force done this? Well, it used the Counter Unmanned Aircraft System, or the CUAS. Also, the Pechora, which is essentially a Soviet-origin surface-to-air missile system, which the Indian Air Force relies on greatly. Then you also had the Samar, which is the surface-to-air missile for assured retaliation. It's a hybrid air defense system that's been developed by the AAF in collaboration with private bodies as well. And then you had air defense guns, all of this used by the Indian Air Force to respond to Pakistan in a measured, calibrated manner. So these are, in fact, the systems, the weapons that we use to ensure that not a single missile or drone managed to land where it was intended to. And that's why the Ministry of Defense in their statement also highlighted this, saying there's not been a single casualty, not a single injury, no material loss that's been reported in these particular attempts by Pakistan to strike on Indian soil. But one image really that's emerged from how this particular strike by Pakistan took place last night is an eerie similarity to what we saw between Israel and Hamas. Pakistan essentially has resorted to a playbook used by terror groups, launching a Hamas-style attack at multiple locations in India. All missiles were intercepted by Indian air defense systems. Residents in affected areas reported loud explosions, flashes in the sky. but nothing more, all of it in the air. And it's been observed this was a Hamas-style attack, a Hamas-style attack, as multiple rockets were launched in quick succession. One target, non-stop rockets being fired. And these short-range rockets were used to target dense civilian areas as well. But much like Israel, India too has its own version of the Iron Dome with a plethora of arsenal, air defense system that ensures we're impenetrable. After images that came in of that missile attack over Jammu surfaced, they looked so similar. We've given you that comparison also of what happened in Israel, the Hamas-style attack on Israel. This makes it clear that the Pakistan army is essentially behaving and operating like a terror group. There was an attempt clearly to overwhelm the Indian air defense system. That's why one after another missiles, drones being fired didn't happen. Let's get you breaking news that's coming in right now from the national capital. As a precautionary measure, there are now civil defense drills taking place in Delhi as well. Air raid sirens being tested in the national capital. And you had Parvesh Verma also at these air siren tests. The message is very clear. Don't panic. And that's been told very clearly to all of the residents. This is, again, let me highlight for you, a precautionary measure that's been taken up by the government at this point. Kumar Kunal is joining us with more details on this. Kumar, we understand the air raid sirens are being tested in Delhi, speakers being installed in different parts of the national capital. Reiterate here that this is no reason to panic. These are precautionary steps in the national capital.
Exactly. It is just a precautionary measure, an emergency measure. What happened last night in several parts of Jammu and Kashmir, Punjab, Rajasthan and other areas, which are the border areas. That's why national capital is also preparing for any emergency response. You can see that so many civil defense volunteers, they are here to educate people that how they should respond in case of any kind of emergency. आप लोग क्या बता रहे हैं किस तरीके से करना चाहिए क्योंकि अभी सायरन बजा?
सर जैसे अभी हमें पता लगा कि सायरन बजा और जैसे कि सरकार ने चेतावनी दी कि रेड अलर्ट होने वाला है, मतलब गवर्नमेंट ने एक हमें वहाँ पे चेतावनी दे दी है कि तुरंत आप अपने घर में या जहाँ भी सुरक्षित स्थान पे आप चले जाइए क्योंकि रेड वहाँ से आसमानी विस्फोट होने वाला है। तो उसमें क्या होगा सर, हम अभी ऑफिस में जा के लोगों को हम अवेयरनेस करके आए हैं कि जैसे आप अगर कोई आपदा आती है तो आप उसमें साइड झुकिए या अपने कान बंद कर लीजिए क्योंकि उसमें शोर होगा, बहुत शाउट होता है तो आपके कान खराब होने के और उसमें क्या होता है सर, रोशनी होती है ना, उससे आँख भी खराब होती है हमारी।
These civil defense volunteers, actually they are educating persons who are, since this is almost the heart of the city, ITO, you can see there are several localities like Old Delhi locality is here, which is quite crucial and quite significant as population density is quite high. Many of the central government offices are in the near vicinity. So these areas which are very crucial from the government point of view as well as the residential point of view. An emergency drill, this kind of drill which is happening here in Delhi as an emergency measure. Akshita.
Is ITO, as Kumar Kunal tells you there, that's where you largely see a lot of the government offices. These are the air sirens that have been put up, installed in several locations of the national capital. I will again reiterate for our viewers, especially all of you in the national capital watching this, wondering what this means. Absolutely nothing. It means we're taking all necessary precautions. And if you hear these sirens at any point, of course, you know the due protocol to be followed. We've given you enough details of what exactly to do in response. But like I said, there will be a communication that comes from the government beforehand if these sirens are expected to go off. This is right now preparatory steps being taken to ensure we're prepared for any eventuality and nothing more. So as we get you these images from the national capital, from Delhi, of the air raid sirens going off, this has happened in ITO, which is where we also saw mock drills taking place. We also understand that speakers have been put up in several locations. On your screens is also Delhi Minister Parvesh Verma, who is there to essentially oversee all of the steps being taken, supervise the installation installation of these air raid sirens and the drills that were conducted. Civil defense volunteers were there, also instructing all of the employees of these officers of what exactly to do if at any point they actually hear these sirens. We understand that speakers now are being installed in some of the crucial locations of Delhi, so that if there's ever a need to alert residents, that can immediately be done without any delay. If you hear this sound, you know what to do, the steps to be taken. There is either blackout measures, in which case electricity will be cut, and the need of the hour is to then ensure you stay indoors. But having said that, this is right now a precautionary step. Kumar Kunal is joining us with more updates on that. Kumar, you were speaking to some of the civil defense volunteers here on what exactly is to be done if these sirens go off. Can you also tell us, Kumar, at this point, if these kind of sirens are being installed in different parts of Delhi across the national capital?
Exactly, there are 11 districts in Delhi, and all the districts administration, they have been told to install such sirens. They are being told even earlier that all the emergency measures should be there, and there in case of any emergency, all those emergency measures should come into the effect. These civil defense volunteers who are standing right behind me, they are actually being trained, and they normally looks after any kind of eventuality. If any emergency situation does arise, then they are the first respondent in all those cases. So they are actually the trained person who can guide the natives or the residents of that particular area. So actually government is saying that there is no need to panic, but always there is a need to be prepared, and as a precautionary measure, they are taking all these exercises because national capital Delhi is one of the most vulnerable place. Our enemy can target national capital, so it is better to be prepared rather than taken by surprise. So we are actually getting prepared. This siren exercise is a step towards that preparedness. So all these things are happening across the capital, not just at the ITO. Since ITO is centrally located, many of the government offices, many of the buildings, many of the locations which are near to New Delhi are located in this vicinity. That's why the location is strategic, and so many people have been told to gather, and even civil defense volunteers, they are actually telling the people when the siren went on, they were actually calming down the people that they don't need to panic. There are some basic exercises which are taken care of. They should actually do those exercises. They should hide themselves behind any strong object like table or whatsoever. So these kind of emergency preparations are going on, and it will go on for some day.
The idea is to spread awareness. The idea is to ensure everyone knows what to do in any circumstance, in any eventuality. I want you to listen into these drills that were conducted just a few moments ago in the national capital. Listen. So those are the sirens going off as planned by the administration in Delhi. You see Minister Parvesh Verma was also there to kind of monitor and oversee the steps being taken, the awareness drives that have been kicked off. Civil defense volunteers, of course, play a big role in many of these drives of informing people what needs to be done, and also helping many of these employees understand the importance of taking these sirens seriously. This has happened in Delhi's ITO, which is where you'll see most of the central government offices, which is why employees were essentially briefed on what to do and what not to do if these sirens go off.
आज से दिल्ली में सायरन लगाने शुरू किए हैं। दिल्ली में जितनी भी ऊंची बिल्डिंग है उसके ऊपर में सायरन लगेंगे। ये सायरन की रेंज 8 किलोमीटर रेडियस की है। ऐसे दिल्ली में आज रात से ही 40 से 50 और सायरन हाई राइज बिल्डिंग में, ऊंची बिल्डिंगों में लगने शुरू होंगे और ऐसे आपातकाल की स्थिति में हम इसको चलाएंगे। और ये एक ही कमांड सेंटर से हम इसको चला सकते हैं। अगर हमें किसी पर्टिकुलर डिस्ट्रिक्ट का चलाना है, पर्टिकुलर एरिया का चलाना है या पूरे दिल्ली का चलाना है तो इसको कंट्रोल किया जा सकता है। 5 मिनट के करीब में सायरन बजा करेगा कोई भी ऐसी स्थिति आती है। और ये सायरन हमारे कमांड सेंटर से जीएसएम पे, एचएफ पर और ब्लैकआउट की स्थिति में भी हम इसको काम में लेके आ पाएंगे।
प्रवीण जी, क्या इसके लिए कोई मुख्यालय होगा या आप लोग खुद इसको मॉनिटर करेंगे? कैसे इसको ऑपरेट किया जाएगा?
ये पूरा जो कंट्रोल होगा नेशनल डिज़ास्टर मैनेजमेंट के अंडर में होगा। और ये क्योंकि पीडब्ल्यूडी की हाई राइज बिल्डिंग है इसलिए आज यहाँ पर लगाया गया है। आज से रात से ही 40-50 की संख्या में और भी लगेंगे।
कब तक लग जाएंगे सर?
1-2 दिन में सभी सायरन
सर पूरी दिल्ली में दिल्ली को क्या संदेश देंगे सर? दिल्ली को
पूरे
अलर्ट को लेकर कितनी तैयारी है दिल्ली सरकार की? दिल्ली सरकार कितनी तैयार?
पूरे दिल्ली को इससे कवर करेंगे और दिल्ली सरकार की, भारत सरकार की, जो भी भारत सरकार की तरफ से जो भी निर्देश आएंगे दिल्ली सरकार उसके लिए एकदम तैयार है। हमारी पुलिस, हमारे जवान सभी तैयार हैं। ठीक है।
So that's the message from Delhi Minister Parvesh Verma about the need to be aware and ensure people know what to do when these air raid sirens go off. But like I said, this is a precautionary measure ensuring that citizens know what to do in any eventuality. There is no reason for panic. There is no reason for Delhiites to think that there's any threat right now. And here's why. Let me also explain to you right now why the national capital is safe. It's got huge multi-tiered, multi-layered security apparatus in place, and also besides that, a robust defense system as well. And we'll break that down for you. What keeps the national capital of the country safe? You have the Akash air defense missile. It's an indigenous system with an interception range of 25 kilometers deployed in the Delhi NCR region. We've seen, of course, how the Akash Tir has helped along the borders last night. Then you have the AEW and CA aircraft used to maintain constant surveillance of the airspace in and around Delhi, the national capital region, identifying any suspicious activity. It's called the Netra aircraft. The medium-range surface-to-air missile MR-SAM, capable of intercepting and neutralizing hostile aircraft, helicopters, cruise missiles, drones within a range of 70 kilometers. This was something that was used again by the IAF last night. We have sensors in place across the national capital region, portable radars with low-level detection capabilities. They have also been deployed to ensure surveillance and threat detection. There are fighter jets that are based out of the national capital region in those military bases, in the air bases. So these fighter jets also can be deployed at any point to enhance the air defense capabilities of the national capital region. Okay, let's move on and talk about what's really happening along the border areas. The last 72 hours have, of course, been extremely intense. Pakistan attempted to also infiltrate into Indian territory once again, which was successfully foiled by our forces across multiple regions. The incursion primarily targeted the Jammu region. Pakistan attempted strikes on the Jammu airport, on Jammu University, and that tells you clearly that they also wanted to target civilians in their strikes. Udhampur, Pathankot, Jaisalmer and Rajasthan, all of these were targeted. And it was India's Sudarshan Chakra, the S-400 missile system, that thwarted these attacks. India successfully shot down one Pakistani F-16, 2 JF-17s, multiple missiles and drones as well. Now, in retaliation, India launched strikes on Lahore. Loud explosions were reported in Peshawar, near the Bahawalnagar cantonment as well. There were videos that emerged of people rushing out of their homes as sirens blared. Mosque loudspeakers urged residents to turn off all household lights, but there's yet to be an official statement on exactly what India's counter looked like.
Rattled Pakistan made a failed attempt to target Jammu's airport and other vital installations in Jammu city and in Jammu and Kashmir. Right now we are standing outside Jammu's airport. There is complete blackout here. Earlier in the evening, Pakistan sent armed drones. Pakistan lobbed missiles towards vital installations in Jammu, whether it was Jammu airport and other army installations in Jammu, Udhampur and other places. But our alert security forces foiled the nefarious designs of Pakistan. We had already activated our air defense system S-400, and with the help of that we were able to repel Pakistan's attacks, not only in Jammu and Kashmir but also in neighboring Punjab, because Pakistan also tried to target the air base in Pathankot district of Punjab. We have successfully shot down 3 fighter jets of Pakistan. This includes 2 JF-17 fighter jets and 1 F-16 fighter jet. So Pakistan is rattled. It tried to escalate tensions. It tried to target Jammu city and other places. But our alert troops on ground have foiled the nefarious designs of Pakistan. We had already activated our air defense system, and with the help of that, we were able to shoot down Pakistani drones and Pakistani missiles. With video journalist Neeraj Kumar, this is Sunil Bhatt reporting from outside Jammu's airport for India Today.
And the Pakistan Defence Minister Khwaja Asif says Pakistan is ready to wrap up tensions with India, as he puts it. And then he says New Delhi should de-escalate the situation. Listen in.
Some of the countries in the Arabian Gulf also, who are close to us, and obviously they have a good relationship with India also, they have also advised that de-escalation should take place immediately. But India is making it, it's almost impossible. Every day there is an incident which raises the bar of conflict in the subcontinent.
And that's the message from the Pakistan Defence Minister at a time when Pakistan has repeatedly been firing at India, attempting to target our civilian bases, our military bases. And so India has maintained very clearly that we've been only resorting to de-escalatory responses. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar yesterday in a bilateral with the Iranian Foreign Minister who was here in India made it very clear that India does not intend to escalate tensions with Pakistan, but at the same time, we will give a firm response if there are attempts to target us militarily, if there are military attacks on India. This has been our very, very clear stand on Pakistan. Listen in.
Excellency, you are visiting India at a time when we are responding to a particularly barbaric terrorist attack on 22nd April in the Indian Union territory of Jammu and Kashmir. This attack compelled us to respond on 7th May by striking at cross-border terrorist infrastructure. Our response was targeted and measured. It is not our intention to escalate the situation. However, if there are military attacks on us, there should be no doubt that it will be met with a very, very firm response. As a neighbor and a close partner, it is important that you have a good understanding of the situation.
So day 15 of ceasefire violations by Pakistan along the line of control, because mind you, these ceasefire violations haven't started since the Operation Sindoor, but much before, since the Pahalgam terror attack from April 22nd in Uri, one death has been reported following a ceasefire violation by Pakistan in the border areas. And unfortunately, this means that the total death toll has reached 15 as of yesterday. Last night, too, we've seen multiple provocations along the border. And so we're hoping that there haven't been any casualties. Pakistan isn't just targeting houses, it's targeting religious places. And you can see in the images the kind of impact that it's left. Buildings completely ridden with holes, glass pieces shattered, and these are from temples, gurudwaras, mosques, all of which has been targeted. But the worst hit area has been Poonch along the line of control, where around 13 people have died so far. Pakistani forces are targeting innocent civilians, directly targeting residential pockets where there are no forces. So it's very clear what the Pakistan army is attempting to do.
It is truly said that faith can move mountains. In this small village in Gurdaspur, the Granth Sahib is keeping the courage and the motivation, the grit and the determination of the village going. And that's what we saw when we came here in Gurdaspur. That was actually on the target of Pakistan, and we saw missiles and drones raining that were defunct and neutralized and demolished by the Indian armed forces. But clearly, you know, the kind of courage and valor we've seen in our armed forces, you know, it's got a ripple effect in all the nook and corners, and especially the bordering villages of on the side of India. We're in Gurdaspur, and you can see that the Granth Sahib is here in this Gurudwara, and with the diktat of the religious gurus that the Granth Sahib should be moved to a safer Gurudwara, the villagers have come together and said that this is our faith, this is what is keeping us going. We will protect it with our lives, and we'll protect this village. Let's hear it from the firebrand ladies here in this village who've seen many wars, lived on the border, not very far away from the international border, but they've never deserted their village. बीबी आपने तो देखा है, पहले की जंग भी देखी है, तो अभी डर लग रहा है, खौफ? डर सानू कोई नहीं लगदा, ਅਸੀਂ बिल्कुल नहीं डरदे, क्यों ਅਸੀਂ जाना भी कित्थे छड्ड के, ਇੱਥੋਂ जा नहीं सकते ਅਸੀਂ किते छड्ड के।
ये पूरा घर टूट गया है। अंदर की तरफ भी हम दिखाना चाहेंगे तो ऑपरेशन सिंदूर के बाद पाकिस्तानी फौज को करारा झटका लगा है। जो पाकिस्तान में आतंकी ठिकाने थे, सिर्फ उसको भारत ने निशाना बनाया, और बार बार भारत ने कहा कि वो सिविलियन को निशाना नहीं बना रहा है। लेकिन ये जो खुद मकबूल खान है, बाकायदा ये दिखा रहे हैं, दिखाते हुए देखिए, ये दिखा रहे हैं, ये सब है, ये सारी शेलिंग में टूटी है।
बिल्कुल शेलिंग में सर, ये बिल्कुल निशाना बनाया गया, जैसा चुन के मकान बनाया गया।
आप ये देख पा रहे हैं जो मकबूल खान का ये घर है, और देखिए कितनी हैवी शेलिंग हो रही है। जो पूरा घर का काफी मजबूत ये घर है, घर के जब ये शेलिंग हुई है रात के वक्त, तो इस तरीके से जो पूरा घर के अंदर जो शेलिंग है वो अंदर घुसी। और उसके बाद लेकिन आपको ये भी बता दूं कि जो भारतीय फौज है वो करारा जवाब भी दे रही है, और पीओके के साइड जो बंकर हैं पाकिस्तान आर्मी के, उनको उनके पर खच्चे उड़ा दिए, तो करारा जवाब मिल रहा है। अगर यहाँ एक घर के अंदर, जहाँ इस वक्त कुपवाड़ा में मौजूद हूँ, यहाँ अगर एक घर के अंदर कोई शेलिंग होती है तो भारतीय सेना उसका दुगने लेवल पर जवाब देती है। और दिखाना चाहेंगे कहाँ, देखिए यहाँ से जो शेलिंग है वो तोड़ करके आई, वो सामने की तरफ भी मैं आपको दिखाना चाहूंगा। ये आसपास के जो तमाम घर हैं इनको निशाना बनाया जा रहा है, और इसीलिए मकबूल कह रहे हैं कि जो आम कश्मीरी मुसलमान हैं उनके घर को ही निशाना पाकिस्तानी फौज बना रही है। तो ये सीधे सीधे कायराना हरकत है। सामने की तरफ भी देखेंगे तो जो पूरा घर है, इन तमाम जो घर हैं उनको निशाना बनाया जा रहा। सीधे ग्राउंड जीरो से आज तक इंडिया टुडे की हम रिपोर्ट दिखा रहे हैं।
This is the line of control village in the Uri sector, and last night the entire area
several villages on the Uri sector stood witness to heavy artillery and artillery attack and shelling by Pakistani forces. And right now what you see is the security forces are conducting a search operation on these sites to ensure that, if at all there are mortars or shelling components which have been fired by Pakistan which have not blasted, they are combing the entire area in order to ensure that any such material is not left. And the security forces are on the ground so it is three-pronged approach. Number one, rescuing the villagers, those who used to live in these areas, in these localities, neighborhoods. Number two, search operation on the ground to ensure no elements such as mortars are left which might have grounded out here and has not blasted, so that needs to be removed as well. But along with that, one more visual that's coming, there's a gas cylinder which has possibly blasted in the night while that shelling happened out here in this particular area. Just look at the devastation which has happened. Even the small metal particles have come on the ground, and these could have actually caused a lot of damage to individuals, to the residents out here. So it does what it does. These images, what it does two things. Number one, Pakistan's cowardly attack on Indian civilians are being exposed by these visuals right now. That's a big expose as to how Pakistan has responded to India's attack against the terror breeding grounds in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir and Pakistan, with attacks on civilians one after other. First, we saw these attacks happening in Gingal village in Salamabad, where we also have our hydropower projects. And right now, last night when they were trying, Pakistan was firing missiles, drones in Indian cities such as Jammu, and all these attempts were thwarted by our agency's air defense system. So what they also did simultaneously was they resorted to indiscriminate artillery attacks and shelling in these areas of which are located on the line of control right now. And remember, these are villages which have not witnessed such shelling ever since 1998. That's what the locals say. You can see the security forces right now are combing the area to look whether any mortar or any component which might not have blasted last night, which was fired by Pakistani forces from the other side of the border, whether it's still lying there, that needs to be removed. The gas cylinders in heat area, that could blast as well, so that is also being removed. What we see out here is that machineries are kept, that is also damaged, but we'll also get you visuals of more houses that has been completely shattered and demolished due to the artillery and shelling that has been done by the Pakistani forces from across the border. Another shop completely destroyed on the main road of Lagma village. Remember Lagma, Bandi village, Gingal village, Salamabad, Kamal Kot. The list is quite long, where Pakistan has resorted to cowardly, dastardly attack on the civilians. Even when India responded to Pakistan's, misadventure of trying to target Indian cities, Indian establishments in northern India and western India through air attacks, India thwarted all those attempts. Indian air defense systems stood rock solid, and India responded to Pakistan's that act with exposing Pakistan's failure, where Islamabad, Lahore, and even Rawalpindi was in a way breezed by Indian armed air attacks, but that was not on the civilians, neither on their military establishments. But right now, what we could see on the ground is that while Pakistan, was trying to attack our cities where civilians live, like Jammu and all other areas in North India, Pathankot, several cities of Pakistan. What is happening on the ground is that they were also resorting to heavy artillery attack, shelling on the villages on line of control. Indian armed forces is on the ground to protect every citizen. It's a cowardly act, but it also exposes Pakistan's real face in front of the world as to how Pakistan is resorting when India attacked the breeding ground of terrorism in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir and Pakistan. What Pakistan did was they are targeting the innocent villagers living on the line of control in Uri sector in India and even across Jammu and Kashmir along the line of control. With video journalist Manish Jha, this is Amit Bhardwaj reporting for India Today from Baramulla.
Another barbaric act of Pakistan is continuous shelling being done in the border areas at the line of control. We are in Rajouri, and this is a house which seems to be devastated. A major impact has been taken. It's a newly built house, but here you see the impact of the shell. The shell fell a couple of meters away. There's a crater there now. What you see out here is the ramification, the effect of, look at this. This is all the glass shards. These are broken pieces. We'll just try and get a sense from the owner here. Rishi is with his family. Rishi and Shruti just recently got married. They're newly married couple. But getting a sense, Rishi, आप ये बताइए, रात का मंजर क्या था? आप लोगों ने ड्रोन देखा, आपने शेल गिरते देखा, आप लोग क्या हुआ? क्योंकि जान बचाना भी जरूरी है।
जी मैम, जान तो हमने बचाई है। रात को 1:30-2 बजे लगभग यहाँ पे फायरिंग जो है शुरू हो गई थी, तो हमने बड़ी मुश्किल से यहाँ पे जान बचाई, छुप के अपने आप को मतलब यहाँ कमरे में वहाँ पे जान बचाना पड़ा हमें। तो बिल्कुल जस्ट घर के सामने जो है ये विस्फोट हुआ है, तो बहुत मुश्किल था हमारे लिए। तो ये फर्स्ट टाइम था, इससे पहले कभी नहीं हुआ। यहाँ पे सारी हिंदू कम्युनिटीज है, ऐसा कभी नहीं हुआ, दिस फर्स्ट टाइम। लेकिन न्यूली मैरिड है, आपकी वाइफ है, ये बताइए क्या सोच रहे थे? आपको लग रहा था कि जान पे बनाई है?
मैम अब क्या ही कर सकते हैं, अब इतना तो पता था कि रिस्क में, पर खुद को खुद ही बचाया।
आप ये बताइए कितने सालों से आप लोग यहाँ पे लाइन ऑफ कंट्रोल पे रह रहे हैं, और इस तरह की जब रात को बम के गोलों की आवाज तो आ ही रही थी, तो आपको लगा था कि कहीं ऐसा कुछ मुश्किल आ जाएगी?
नहीं मैम, मुझे तो नहीं पता था, लेकिन कल की जो न्यूज सुन रहे थे तो उसमें तो पता चलता था भाई कुछ न कुछ तो हादसा होगा। तो जब बमबारी हुई रात को तो हम अपने आप तो सेव करने लगे, फिर तो इधर उधर छुपने लगे, क्या करना था फिर, तो बम तो पास में पड़े थे।
So we just trying to get you a sense of what is really happening, because these are residents near line of control. Rishi, just try and please show us inside. And here you go, look at this. Built in 2018, and there you go. This is the living room area. Look at this. The impact is so, this is a newly built house. Look at this. We'll just go into the other rooms, because remember the impact is such, there are just glass shards everywhere. ये घर नया था तो इसी वजह से इतना इम्पैक्ट ले पाया?
नहीं मैम, ऐसा कुछ नहीं है शायद, बट हम ये नहीं कह सकते। घर नया होने की वजह से हम ये बोले कि हमारे ही घर में शेलिंग हुई है, और भी घर में शेलिंग हुई है, आगे पीछे बहुत।
नहीं, मैं कह रही हूँ कि नुकसान क्या कम हुआ है? क्योंकि
जी नुकसान ज्यादा हुआ है। जी जी जी।
So look at this. This is the kitchen. Look at this. All the glass shards here. Look at this. So the impact is quite heavy, but remember when you compare it, a life has been saved. These, आप लोग कहाँ अंदर छुप गए थे?
पीछे वाले रूम में हम अपने आप को मतलब सेफ जोन में रखा, और ये जो अलमीरा था इसको स्ट्रेट में खड़े करके वो बड़े वाला जो गद्दा था उसको स्ट्रेट खड़ा किया और उसके पीछे छुप गया।
So all the residents remember a normal life being disrupted, and not just here but just across Jammu and Kashmir.
बहुत भरोसा है जो कि इतना कुछ कर रही है हमारे लिए, तो हमें भी चाहिए कि हम भी आर्मी का साथ दें। जी, हमें
कई लोग सोच रहे हैं जाने का, आप लोग यहीं रुकेंगे?
नहीं मैम, अगर कंडीशन देखेंगे कहाँ जाना है, तो कहाँ जाएंगे?
Look at the resilience of the people. They're still smiling after all this. There's a smile on their face, because remember, it's not because there is a setback, because they know they have to live here. They have been living all their lives in this particular area. Rishi himself is a teacher, and it's also leading by example to his students. You know, you just take it right in front, and this is where they believe this is going to be a chapter. Hopefully it will end soon, but meanwhile there are losses, and perhaps only time will heal certain of these particular disastrous memories. With camera person Girish, this is Kamaljeet Sandhu in Rajouri, LOC for India Today.
And here's perhaps the most bizarre reasoning you will ever hear on why Pakistan couldn't stop even one of the India counter-strikes. The Defence Minister of Pakistan, Khwaja Asif, says we didn't stop Indian drones to ensure that has said essentially that we didn't hit back at India. We let them go ahead and strike us because we didn't want our defence locations to be known. This is actually the reasoning coming in from a defence minister of the country. Listen in.
कल का जो ड्रोन हमला हुआ वो ड्रोन हमला बेसिकली हमारी जो लोकेशंस हैं उसको डिटेक्ट करने के लिए जो है किया गया। एक टेक्निकल चीज़ है जिसको मैं उस तरह एक्सप्लेन नहीं कर सकता और इसलिए उनको इंटरसेप्ट ना किया गया ताकि हमारी लोकेशंस जो हैं वो लीक ना हो या वो लोकेट ना हो।
And let's get you a quick update on the Indian Premier League, which has been suspended amid the conflict between India and Pakistan. The BCCI has suspended the remaining IPL matches till next week. The BCCI has confirmed that a decision on the remaining matches will be taken next week on when perhaps we could be seeing it being pushed to. For now, they've said indefinitely, but next week we will know if the IPL will continue perhaps in a few weeks from now or what the final decision is that's taken by the BCCI. Listen in to what Rajiv Shukla had to say.
BCCI ने यह निर्णय लिया है कि IPL को अभी फिलहाल एक सप्ताह के लिए स्थगित किया गया है। उसके बाद जो स्थिति है उसका जायजा लेके सरकार से विचार विमर्श करके जो हमारे स्टेक होल्डर्स हैं फ्रेंचाइजी और ब्रॉडकास्टर इन सबसे बात करके नए शेड्यूल की घोषणा की जाएगी।
So the BCCI confirming next week there should be a decision. I mind you that comes after last night an IPL match in Dharamshala was called off midway with the floodlights being switched off and all of the crowds there in the stadium being asked to move out. We'll be getting you all the latest updates of that story and of course the latest that comes in on the strikes and the conflict between India and Pakistan. Again a reminder that 5 p.m. is when we're expecting a government briefing on the same. Our rolling coverage continues here on India Today on the other side of a very, very short break.
H60 Pro, the edge of excellence.
Motorola Edge 60 Pro. Hello, Moto.
Edge 60 Pro, the edge of excellence.
Hi, here are the top headlines presented by Motorola. Heavy tension on India-Pakistan border. 3 Pakistani fighter jets downed in Indian strike. Major meeting of Rajnath Singh with CDS and chiefs of the armed force.
An India Today world exclusive. 2010 India Today inside Muridke.
A safe haven for terrorists. Pakistan uses terror as part of state policy.
2025 Muridke terror hubs wiped out.
Big story coming in. Muridke has been targeted. Oh my God, the terror epicenter has been targeted. Information just coming in. Indian missiles have struck the Lashkar-e-Taiba headquarters. Murid has been bombed. It's a big
sorry.
Ui, ai da.
Maya, oh.
Hello and welcome to our special and non-stop broadcast. Operation Sindoor continues to be our top focus story right here. We are on standby for a briefing from the Ministry of External Affairs that is expected at 5:30 this evening. All eyes on that, but as always, the headlines first in this edition. India hits back after Pakistan escalation. Heavy damages to Lahore and many Pakistan cities. According to government sources, drone hits Okara cantonment in Pakistan. Prime Minister Modi and Mantris in huddles. Prime Minister Modi monitors the military situation. Home Minister Amit Shah chairs border security meeting. Rajnath Singh meets Tri-Services Chief. Seven infiltrators have been killed in Samba and Jammu. Suspected Jaish terrorists have been killed amid India-Pakistan conflict. Undetonated Chinese missile in Punjab field. Chinese PL-15 air-to-air missile has been recovered. Missile likely from downed Pakistan JF-17 jet. And IPL has been suspended amid India-Pakistan conflict. Decision on remaining matches of ongoing IPL to be taken after a week. And we'll kickstart this edition with some news just coming in at this hour. The Ministry of Home Affairs has written to chief secretaries and administrators of all states and union territories, asking them to invoke emergency powers under civil defense rules for efficient implementation of necessary precautionary measures. That's the advice that has come in essentially from the Ministry of Home Affairs, and this advice has been made, in fact, has been given rather to chief secretaries and administrators of all states and union territories, keeping in view of the tensions, the escalating tensions between India and Pakistan. This is to invoke emergency powers under civil defense rules for efficient implementation of the necessary precautionary measures. I'll go straight across to Jitendra for more on that. Jitendra, इस advisory के हिसाब से exactly किस तरीके के emergency powers invoke किए गए हैं civil defense rules में? What is expected? What is going to be the necessary precautionary measure that is going to be looked at? अब क्या बता सकते हैं इसके बारे में?
देखिए, केंद्रीय गृह मंत्रालय की तरफ से जो एडवाइजरी दी गई है, इसका मकसद ये है कि सिविल डिफेंस डीजी को ये पावर दिए गए हैं कि अगर उनको देश में किसी भी जगह पर अगर कोई इमरजेंसी की सिचुएशन आती है तो उस दौरान उनको अगर कोई खरीद करना है तो उसके लिए बाकायदे लंबा प्रोसेस अपनाना नहीं पड़ेगा। जैसे अगर बॉर्डर के इलाके में जहां पर उनको सायरन लगाना है या फिर मेडिकल इक्विपमेंट या तमाम चीज़ें जो ज़रूरत है इस दौरान, जबकि भारत पाकिस्तान सीमा पर इस वक्त काफ़ी तनाव की स्थिति है, ऐसे में सिविल डिफेंस डीजी को ये पावर दे दिया गया है कि वो ऐसे चीज़ें खरीद सकते हैं और किसी भी समय इसको खरीद करके उसको लगाया जा सकता है। इसके लिए केंद्रीय गृह मंत्रालय ने जो राज्यों के चीफ सेक्रेटरी हैं और इसके साथ साथ जो केंद्र शासित प्रदेश के चीफ सेक्रेटरी हैं उनको चिट्ठी लिख करके ये जानकारी दी है और ये कहा है कि केंद्रीय गृह मंत्रालय की तरफ से एम्पावर किया गया है जो सिविल डिफेंस के डीजी हैं उनको कि वो किसी भी तरीके का, अगर किसी बिल्डिंग के ऊपर सायरन लगाना है, युद्ध जैसी स्थिति अगर कुछ बनती है या फिर ब्लैकआउट को लेकर के कोई प्रैक्टिस करना है या तमाम चीज़ें जो सिविल डिफेंस के हिसाब से ज़रूरत पड़ती है इमरजेंसी के दौरान, तो उसके लिए डीजी जो है पूरी तरीके से एम्पावर है और उसको वो पूरी तरीके से प्रोक्योरमेंट कर सकता है। ज़रूरत पड़े तो तुरंत प्रोक्योरमेंट कर सकता है, उसमें किसी भी तरीके की बाधा नहीं आनी चाहिए।
जी बिल्कुल, शुक्रिया हमारे साथ जुड़ने के लिए। जितेंद्र essentially telling us that if there is anything that is to be procured during this time when things are in fact uncertain, then the regular route is something that can be bypassed by the civil defense, and they have been empowered by way of that notification. Leaving it at that for the moment. Jitendra Bahadur with that very latest. More news coming in. Let's take a look. And the story is from Amritsar, where a Pakistan missile has been again defused by the Indian forces. A missile defused in a village near Amritsar. That's the big story we are breaking at this hour. Pakistan missile was shot down by India yesterday. This is the information that we have with us at this point in time. Not one, but a series of missiles, remember, have been effectively countered with by India and India's air defense systems. This time around, we are telling you about a Pakistan missile which has been defused by Indian forces. This development is being reported from a village near Amritsar, remember, which was in fact targeted by Pakistan. But a missile has now been shot down in a village near Amritsar is what we are learning. A Pakistan missile was actually shot down by India yesterday. Now the missile has been defused in a village near Amritsar, even as Pakistan continues with these misadventures. I'm going straight across to Asim Bassi, getting in more details on that story. Asim, what exactly can you tell us about how India has successfully defused this particular missile in a village near Amritsar? Share with us the details here.
Well, yesterday everybody knows that Pakistan, after India hit out at Pakistan to revenge against the Pahalgam, Pakistan shot down missiles and drones in various areas, but that were basically neutralized by the Indian air defense system. One of those missile remains basically fell down in the areas of Jethual and Makhan Vindi village, which is in Amritsar district. So this explosive was found in Makhan Vindi village of Amritsar and yesterday, and after that the entire area was cordoned, the army was called up, the police was called up, and for the entire night the process was on. But today the experts came in, and this remains of the Pakistani missile were basically diffused and detonated. And you can see the kind of explosion which you can see in the visual is very, very huge. Its impact would have been very high had it fallen in some civilian area, because the place where it fell was the village Makhan Vindi, which is between this village and village Jethual, which is very densely populated. But fortunately there was no loss of human and there was no injuries, and police and army personnel did it very nicely by cordoning off people and detonating and diffusing it today.
All right, Asim, I'm going to thank you for the moment getting in those details from Amritsar, where there is a village that he's referring to right now. Remember, all of this is along, in fact, very close to the Pakistan border, essentially, where a missile was effectively diffused by India. Asim saying the consequences could have been very different had this not been effectively dealt with by our forces. As Pakistan's repeated attempts to target Indian military installations continue to be thwarted very effectively by the Indian armed forces, concerns have emerged over its reliance on largely China-made military hardware to counter India's superior artillery systems. In the latest development, an undetonated Chinese PL-15 air-to-air missile was in fact recovered from a field in Punjab's Hoshiarpur. This missile is believed to have been fired by a Pakistani JF-17 fighter jet, also of Chinese origin, that was shot down by an Indian Akash missile system in the Pathankot sector. The missile failed to detonate upon impact, further highlighting the questionable reliability of Pakistan's Chinese-supplied arsenal. We're telling you about the details essentially of what has happened. Effectively, this has got to do with the quality of what Pakistan is using. There are repeated attempts, we know, to target the Indian military installations, and it continues to be thwarted effectively by the Indian armed forces, with concerns also and a lot of chatter essentially about how Pakistan has relied on largely China-made military hardware to counter India's superior artillery systems. Now, in the latest, an undetonated Chinese PL-15 air-to-air missile was actually recovered from a field in Punjab's Hoshiarpur. The missile is believed to have been fired by a Pakistani JF-17 fighter jet, also of Chinese origin, that was shot down by an Indian Akash missile system in the Pathankot sector. To tell our viewers, this missile failed to detonate upon impact, essentially speaking volumes of the quality, really, of the equipment that is being used by Pakistan, which of course is China-made. It's highlighted, really, the questionable reliability of Pakistan's Chinese-supplied arsenal. And mind you, this isn't the first time that this has happened. Questions have been raised in the past also of the artillery made in China, used by Pakistan. This time around too, this is something that is being looked at very closely and spoken about. The manner in which, Asim, this missile, is believed to have been fired by Pakistani JF-17, but not successful. The attempts to wreak havoc. That clearly something that India's Akash missile system thwarted very effectively, but also putting a huge question mark on the quality of what is being used by Pakistan, isn't it?
Well, definitely. In Hoshiarpur area, this PL-15 Chinese missile was found after it was shot down by the Indian air defense system. So clearly it shows, it raises question marks and definitely about the quality of weapons and armory the Pakistanis are using. And the way the attacks were fired over Jammu, Pathankot and other regions, Hoshiarpur, but everything was neutralized, speaks volumes about the prowess of the Indian air defense systems. So clearly this is a big indication that how strong and how alert we are to ensure that nobody enters our territory, and if somebody enters territory, is neutralized there and then. Yeah.
Essentially, like you said, Asim, this speaks volumes of the quality of what is being used by Pakistan. Not one, but repeated attempts being made by Pakistan to target Indian military installations, and it continues to be thwarted by the Indian armed forces. Though whatever is being said online, it doesn't matter. The fact of the matter, Asim, is that effectively every single attempt was thwarted by our armed forces and very successfully functioning India's air defense systems, isn't it?
Yes, truly, because whatever Pakistan did a misadventure, be it Jammu, be it Pathankot, be it Hoshiarpur, be it Bathinda, be it Jalandhar, wherever they tried, they failed. Because Indian troops were very alert, the defense system was
coming in at this hour, according to army sources, and we are getting that news breaking at this moment. On the 8th of May, between 8 p.m. and 11:30 p.m., Pakistan carried out raids with 500 small drones in 24 cities of Jammu, Kashmir, Punjab, Rajasthan, Gujarat in India. These are details that we have with us of numerous of Pakistan's misadventures. This is through our sources within the Indian Army telling us about that Pakistan essentially targeted cities and carried out raids with 500 small drones in 24 cities across states like Jammu and Kashmir, Punjab, Rajasthan and Gujarat. Significant areas, in fact, portions of the land that is our international border that we share with Pakistan. This totals into about 24 cities is what our sources within the army are indicating. And the time for the same was late in the evening between 8 p.m. and 11:30 p.m. These are the details that we have with us. Pakistan carrying out raids with 500 small drones like we've seen in Hamas-style attacks that we are constantly referring to, essentially to overwhelm our system. That was the idea, is what is very clear at this point in time. But 24 cities were targeted is what we are picking up from our sources within the Indian Army. This on the 8th of May between 8 p.m. and 11:30 p.m. And also to tell our viewers that every single attempt made by Pakistan was very effectively thwarted by the Indian air defense systems. 24 cities of Jammu and Kashmir, Punjab, Rajasthan and Gujarat that share, in fact, that have land at the international border essentially. These are the border states of Punjab, Jammu and Kashmir and a portion of Rajasthan and Gujarat as well in the country where 24 cities were targeted. But attempts to, in fact, of any kind of misadventure that we were seeing and full display as we saw on the 8th of May were effectively thwarted by the Indian defense systems. To tell our viewers and give them a few more details about what could have possibly happened here, the duration for this, in fact, these attacks and spontaneous attacks and very Hamas-style attacks is what is being referred to by defense experts here. This, in fact, was raids with 500 small drones in 24 cities in quick succession that we saw. But air defense systems, in fact, thwarted these attempts as quickly as they came in. But there were 500 small drones and the target cities were 24 of them in Jammu and Kashmir, in Punjab, Rajasthan and Gujarat that share the international border essentially with Pakistan. This is through our sources within the army getting in details on what could have possibly happened here. This happened between 8 and 11:30 p.m. this evening, but India, in fact, effectively thwarted every single attempt by Pakistan to wreak havoc. 500 drones is what we are learning, Manjeet, and every attempt was thwarted. But what's worrying is that there were 24 cities that were systematically targeted by Pakistan was clear in a Hamas fashion.
Well, the latest information about the Pakistan's raid yesterday on between the 7 p.m. and between 7 p.m. to 11:30 p.m. Pakistan Army has used more than 500 small unarmed drones in the various cities, including from the border of Gujarat, Rajasthan and Jammu Kashmir. And Pakistan raided 24 cities across these three states. And all small arms neutralized by the Indian Army and Air Force air defense system, including the L-72 missile and the Akash missile system. So, and Indian Army is surprised that why Pakistan used these unarmed small drones, and all small arms drones made in China.
In fact, telling our viewers a little more about what we picked up from our sources really within the government at this point in time, confirming that the Indian armed forces meticulously document each strike conducted against terror targets. Comprehensive visual evidence is systematically recorded to ensure transparency. Given that, remember, in the past also questions have been raised. Now, to support this effort, a dedicated data collection unit has been established as well. So these are details emerging at this point in time on not just how the raids have been carried out and how these misadventures on the part of Pakistan have been very effectively thwarted by India, but also documented effectively. This unit that has now been set up, a dedicated data collection unit that I'm referring to right now, is responsible for storing and organizing all visual and operational proof associated with these missions. The armed forces remain committed, we are learning, have said and spoken about the fact, to maintain transparency. So that really is on top of their agenda, that is something that is of great significance to them, maintain transparency by continuing to provide verifiable evidence for all future strikes. Essentially, the important aspect of what we are pointing out for our viewers is the manner in which the Indian Armed Forces has now spoken about the fact that comprehensive visual evidence is systematically recorded in the interest of transparency. To support this effort, a dedicated data collection unit has been established. The unit is responsible for storing and organizing all visual and operational proof like we've seen in the past as well. In fact, Manjeet continues to be with us for the very latest. Manjeet, this is something that the government and the forces have underscored in the past as well in the first briefing that was held after Operation Sindoor was effectively carried out, that we have visual proof and all of this is being documented effectively, isn't it?
Well, the government have confirmed that the Indian Armed Forces meticulously documented each strike and conducted against the terror target, and comprehensive visual evidence, digital footprints, and recorded ensured the transparency. And the Indian agencies also collected the many the footprints and the debris of the Pakistan's missiles, drones, etc.
Right. We'll just, in fact, connect that line with Manjeet again in a moment from now. But details that we have with us is of the visual evidence of each strike that is being recorded. We're picking this from our sources within the army. The forces, in fact, not just carried out the strikes meticulously, thwarted all attempts on the part of Pakistan, but also has secured the proof, visual proof for the same and documented it. And tensions with Pakistan escalated as strikes were launched towards Jammu, Pathankot and Udhampur from Pakistan. India responded to Pakistan immediately. Reports say that heavy damages have been inflicted to Pakistan cities including Lahore, and Defence Minister, CDS and Tri-Services Chief have been reviewing the military operations, is what we're learning at this point in time. Sources tell India Today that heavy damages have been inflicted to several cities. Also that one Pakistan F-16, two JF-17 jets were shot down. Sources also say that Pakistan air surveillance system was shot down and over 50 Pakistan drones were also effectively taken down. Pakistan's Okara cantonment was also hit by drones as per sources. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh are continuously reviewing the ongoing military operations. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh is in constant communication, we understand, with the Trial Services chiefs assessing the real-time situation. Defence Minister has also met with the Chief of the Defence Staff, the CDS, and Trial Services chiefs and held a comprehensive review of the situation as of now. We're telling our viewers about the series of meetings also which is being held. Remember, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh also met with the Chief of the Defence Staff and Services Chiefs today. That meeting was done to review the current situation, even as tensions with Pakistan have continued to only escalate in the last few days or so. Strikes, remember, were launched towards Jammu, Pathankot and Udhampur from Pakistan. India, as we know and see, have responded effectively. Reports say that heavy damages have been inflicted to Pakistan cities, and this includes cities like Lahore. Now, Prime Minister, Defence Minister, the Chief of the Defence Staff and Trial Services Chief have been reviewing the ongoing military operations. Sources have told India Today that heavy damages have been inflicted to several Pakistan cities, and this includes Lahore as well. Also, that one Pakistan F-16, two JF-17 jets were effectively shot down. I'm going straight across to Kamaljeet for more details on that. Kamal, what we're also picking at this point in time is that Pakistan's air surveillance system was in fact also affected adversely, given how successfully India's air defense system thwarted every move that was made on the part of Pakistan to wreak havoc. This, of course, started off late evening yesterday.
Well, it's all out between India and Pakistan, and remember, after India had taken a retaliatory measure as far as the swarm drone attacks are concerned. First, once we found that there were drones and missiles being launched in different Indian cities, especially on defense installations, not only did we manage to effectively fend off those particular attacks, but launched a counter-offensive of sorts, and that is to rub it in, especially on Pakistan, as to what India can really effectively do. Remember, the measures are still de-escalatory. One is because, remember, there was no shooting as such, but there was a message which was sent across that whatever misadventure Pakistan was indulging in will not be tolerated. But meanwhile, what we saw yesterday was basically surveillance drone and swarm drones really being sent across multiple cities in a bid to create panic and havoc on Indian cities. But this just could be the tip of the iceberg. We could perhaps anticipate that more could be coming in. Pakistan simply could be testing just waters. But clearly, even in that, the sort of surveillance system and the sort of robust anti-missile systems and surveillance systems we have could easily fend off that particular micro drones or the swarm drones, as we call them. And this is where it means it's not all over yet, and that is why there are continuous sirens in several cities. There is also intelligence coming in that in the next few days or 24 to 48 hours could be extremely crucial, because remember what DG ISPR has said, whatever they do, it will be done and known worldwide. But clearly, they are taking on India, which is much superior in military might. But at this point of time, what Pakistan is looking at is a face saving. And that is where lies the real danger, because remember, they have been doing shelling across line of control. They've been targeting innocent civilians. There is obviously a sinister plan that they have, and that is why targeting of cities and important defense installations. Remember, there have been open threats as far as even the dams are concerned, talking about water being stopped by India. So all that are open threats, but now is what Pakistan does is actually lies in their table. But meanwhile, India has launched Operation Sindoor. We have effectively, with a precision strike, struck on the terror
Kamal, getting in those details. In fact, we're shifting quickly to some more news which is coming in at this point in time. These are developments we're reporting on from Pakistan. Let's take a look. Pakistan member of the National Assembly, Mohammad Mobeen Arif, slams Sharif. Another MP from Pakistan is hit out at Shehbaz Sharif. Where is our PM is the question that's being asked. Why doesn't he say anything? He doesn't say anything against Modi. He doesn't say anything against India. So growing disgruntlement is what we're seeing at this point in time, where a member of the National Assembly essentially is going after the Prime Minister of Pakistan, hitting out at Shehbaz Sharif and saying that he isn't speaking? Why doesn't he say anything? He doesn't say anything against Prime Minister Narendra Modi. He doesn't say anything against India. Essentially, within the country also, internal disgruntlement is what we are seeing and what Pakistan Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif is dealing with at this point in time, with a member essentially of the National Assembly, Mubin Arif, hitting out at the Pakistan Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif, effectively saying that you are mum and you are sitting quietly, is what he seems to be suggesting here. Where is our PM is what he's asked. Why doesn't he say anything? He doesn't say anything against Modi. Effectively, there is a sense of disgruntlement is what's clear before us, with in fact a government representative, or rather with a representative of the people, essentially talking about the fact that the Prime Minister is missing in action. Listen in.
ये पाकिस्तान के फायदे की बातें हैं और ये जो पाकिस्तान के साथ मुखलिस लोग हैं वही कौमी यकजहती के बारे में सोच सकते हैं। इधर कोई ऐसा लीडर नहीं है कि जिसने ये आवाज इंडिया के और मोदी के खिलाफ बुलंद ना की हो। मैं सिर्फ हुकूमती बेंच से ये पूछना चाहता हूं कि आपका लीडर किधर है? उन्होंने कोई सप सौं गया है? वो नहीं बोलता इंडिया के खिलाफ, वो भी तो कुछ बोले ना। इंग्लैंड जाके बह रहे हैं, उतो कुछ बोल लवे और ਉਹਦੇ ਕੋਲ ਮੀਡੀਆ ਵਾਲੇ ਸਵਾਲ ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ, ਬੜੇ ਜਵਾਬ ਦਿੰਦਾ ਹੈ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ। ਜਿੱਥੋਂ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਦਾ ਮੋਦੀ ਦਾ ਸਵਾਲ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਚੁੱਪ ਕਰ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਹੈ। ਜਨਾਬੇ ਚੇਅਰਮੈਨ, ਇਹ ਗੱਲ ਵੀ ਤਾਂ ਮੁਨਾਸਬ ਕੋਈ ਨਹੀਂ, ਇੰਡੀਆ ਦੇ ਖਿਲਾਫ ਬੋਲੇ। ਜੇ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਦੇ ਖਿਲਾਫ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੋ ਬੋਲਣਾ ਤਾਂ ਫਿਰ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਬਹਿ ਜਾਵੇ, ਬੀਜੇਪੀ ਚੋਂ ਇਲੈਕਸ਼ਨ ਲੜ ਲਵੇ।
Right, essentially it's an MP who is now going after Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif of Pakistan, saying that you were silent. That's the effective message there. It has come in. Now, talking a little about, in fact, politicians from Pakistan, let's give you a sense of what the Defence Minister of Pakistan now saying. When asked on why Pakistan was unsuccessful in intercepting Indian drones, he gave some sort of a bizarre reply to that question. This within the Assembly. Listen in.
कल का जो ड्रोन हमला हुआ वो ड्रोन हमला बेसिकली हमारी जो लोकेशंस हैं उसको डिटेक्ट करने के लिए जो है किया गया। वो एक टेक्निकल चीज़ है जिसको मैं उस तरह एक्सप्लेन नहीं कर सकता, और इसलिए उनको इंटरसेप्ट ना किया गया ताकि हमारी लोकेशंस जो हैं वो लीक ना हो या वो लोकेट ना हो। मदारस के स्टूडेंट्स का ताल्लुक है, इसमें कोई शक नहीं है कि वो हमारी एक सेकंड डिफेंस लाइन है। वहाँ पे नौजवान जो पढ़ते हैं अल्लाह के फजल से वो दीन के साथ भी जो है आरास्ता हैं, और उसके साथ जो है वो उनके जो वक्त ज़रूरत जो है, जिस तरह उन्होंने फरमाया कि उनको शहरी दफा के लिए या दूसरी ज़रूरतों के लिए जो है ना बिल्कुल 100% इस्तेमाल किया जा सकता है।
All right, so that's what Khwaja Asif, the Defence Minister, essentially said, that we wouldn't want to give out our locations, hence the interception was not successful. A bizarre logic, really. And talking about Pakistan staying with the country, the attempt to strike multiple military targets across northern and western India using drones and missiles. This aerial assault was neutralized by the S-400 air defense systems. In a calibrated response, Indian Armed Forces struck Pakistani air defense radars and systems using anti-missile systems. Akash Tir, also known as India's Iron Dome, similar to what Israel uses, designed to automate air defense control and reporting, was effectively activated. It's been developed, to tell our viewers, by Bharat Electronics Limited. It can enable forces to intercept and neutralize Pakistan projectiles, which it did. It generates real-time data to precisely track aerial threats by collecting inputs from multiple radars and sensors. It also, to tell our viewers, acts as a digital nerve center of air defense network. The Indian Air Force deployed the Sudarshan Chakra S-400 air defense systems. These long-range air defense systems that can engage aircraft, cruise missiles and even UAVs. It can hit multiple targets up to 400 kilometers and can track over 160 targets in 600-kilometer range. It can target 72 targets in a range of 400 kilometers or so. India, to tell our viewers, also deployed its 40mm AA gun upgraded with radar and sensors. It includes electro-optics and auto-tracking gear and can fire 240 to 330 rounds every single minute. Its effective range extends up to 4,000 meters and saturates airspace with predictive firepower. India also deployed its weapon system, which is Shrika. These are self-propelled with 4 23mm autocannons. Its radars can detect targets that are 20 kilometers away. It can fire up to 4,000 rounds every single minute. And the air defense umbrella by the Indian Air Force has ensured that the Indian population is safe. The Indian Air Force used counter-unmanned aircraft system. Also, Petora, Summer and air defense guns were used by the Indian Air Force to respond to Pakistan in a measured and calibrated manner. A little more details essentially that we can share about what was used. Summer air defense system to tell about the Indian Air Force's short-range surface-to-air missile system. The range is about 12 kilometers. The speed up to 2.5 has twin turret launcher. It fires missiles in single or salvo mode, targets low-flying jets, helicopters, UAVs, reused expired missiles, providing a low-cost solution to it. Well, after being snubbed by India twice, desperate Pakistan seems to be copying the attack style of terror organization Hamas. In a series of attacks on dense civilian areas, the terror state has proved that it's not only a safe haven for terrorists, but a terror state itself. Here's more.
Pakistani attacks thwarted again. Its plot to bleed civilian areas with drones and crude missiles foiled again. But the repeated attacks by Pakistan at multiple locations has a pattern. Using chilling modus operandi of a terrorist organization, this style has been copied from Hamas. Short-range, locally assembled rockets were launched by Pakistan in quick succession to target dense civilian areas, a chapter exactly copied from Hamas' playbook. Pakistan, just like Hamas, aimed to exhaust Indian air defense system with multiple projectiles. But just like Israel's Iron Dome, India's S-400 air defense system repelled the nefarious attempt.
The Hamas attack on Israel seems to have inspired Pakistan. First, the attack in Pahalgam and then targeting of civilians. This is a very clear imprint. Secondly is about how targeting of civilians, especially living in line of control, a style adopted by Hamas, targeting innocent civilians. Then thereafter, what we know is the meeting of masterminds, especially Hamas leaders meeting not just top Lashkar commanders, but terrorists right in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. Something Pakistan has supported all along are not just terror launchpad, but big terror organizations and are being safe havens there. But effectively handled well and fended off at line of control and in hinterland by Indian forces.
Pakistan had recently hosted Hamas terrorists at Jaish headquarters Bahawalpur, which has now been reduced to rubble. It has been primary haven of terrorists and its role is in multiple terror strikes across the world. Is Pakistan's rogue army now directly copying activities of terror groups? Bureau Report, India Today.
And Finance Ministry official on economic impact has spoken to us, and this is what is now being said. The story we are breaking at this hour: no signs of food inflation amidst Indo-Pakistan tensions. Remember, this has been a worry. The government official has indicated that the government continues to be cautious of escalation risks. The Finance Ministry keeping a close watch of the situation. Capex may take a hit as resources get diverted towards defense. Additional spending could lead to downward revision in fiscal deficit targets. This is in fact what we're learning from our sources within the government. The defense budget forms 13.45% financial year 2026 outlay. The alert indicates that 6.81 lakh crore allocated to defense, which is actually up 9.5% from financial year 2025. The government, remember, set a target of bringing fiscal deficit to 4.4% of GDP in financial year 2026. Karishma, my colleague from Business Today, getting in more on that story. Essentially, good news here is that there is no sign of food inflation, because that, Karishma, continues to be a reason to worry. However, the fact is that there is going to be, diversion of resources towards defense, and because of which the capex could be taking a hit. Explain to us.
Well, absolutely right. You see, the government's continuous focus has been on capital expenditure, and year by year they've been increasing their budget. But with the current situation between India and Pakistan, it's likely that government may want to divert more and more of their expenditure towards defense. Despite the fact that about close to 6.7 lakh crore has been contributed, allocated for the defense budget, which has seen a 10% hike from year-on-year basis, there is a likelihood chance that if this tensions between India and Pakistan escalates, more and more resources and expenditure could move there. If that moves, then it is likely that we could see some kind of downfall in the capital expenditure target, which will also, of course, impact the fiscal deficit, which government plans to keep at 4.4% for FY 2026. While government sources do tell us that food inflation currently is not a concern, we need to be cautious of the fact that if situation gets grim and things escalate, then inflation is something that could likely happen in the future. Currently, the situation definitely is stable. The Ministry of Finance is continuing to keep a watch on the situation. In fact, Finance Minister currently is also undertaking another meeting with the banks and financial institutions on the cyber security. They're watching out to ensure that the banks and the financial institutions are safe and are not hindered by any kind of cross-border cyber attacks. All of this is a part of regular emergency exercise that they are doing, and we'll keep you updated as and when we learn more from the ministry.
That's right, Karishma, getting in those details, leaving it at that for the moment. A bit of a concern as far as capex is concerned. Remember, this is expenditure on long-term assets. However, no impact on inflation just yet is what the government is indicating. Tensions between India and Pakistan continue to rise. Some key visuals capturing the situation on the ground. Indian Army visuals show Pakistani military posts being destroyed along the line of control. Smoke erupts from enemy positions, and that has been, in fact, that were targeted. The first official footage released of such cross-border destruction. Night vision of thermal imagery shows movement near the border fence in the Samba sector. Surveillance screens detect a group of 7 terrorists attempting infiltration who were killed by the BSF. Explosions light up the Dhandar Park Rangers post as BSF responded. A suspected bomb found near Kishanganj village 4 kilometers away from Rajasthan's Jaisalmer city. Investigation by police and army teams is underway. Residents of a border village along the line of control in Jammu and Kashmir grapple with the aftermath of heavy shelling by Pakistan, which resulted in extensive damage to civilian properties, including homes and shops. And lights in the Golden Temple complex had to be turned off for the first time in 54 years as part of the Blackout directive given under the nationwide civil defense mock drill in the wake of escalating tensions between India and Pakistan. That is something that hasn't happened in 54 long years. Now, ever since the strike has begun on Pakistan, social media is buzzing with all sorts of fake news. Let's take a look at some of the myths which we are busting one by one. A video of a drone attack in Jalandhar was widely being circulated to create panic among the masses. Upon investigation of the video, it was found that it was an unrelated video of a farm fire. The video had the timeline of 7:39 p.m. The drone attack actually began sometime after 8. The same was backed by the DC of Jalandhar. An Indian post was claimed to be destroyed by the Pakistani army in one of the fake videos spread online. The video is shared and amplified by a number of fake and unverified accounts. Fact check found that claim to be completely false and confirmed it to be staged upon verification, since there is no unit, absolutely none, called 20 Raj Battalion in the Indian Army. The video aimed to mislead the public in a part of a coordinated propaganda campaign. An old video was shared on social media with the claim that Pakistan has launched a missile attack on India in retaliation. Upon fact-checking, the video busted this disinformation. The video shared was actually of the explosive attack that took place in Lebanon, in Beirut, in the year 2020. Information regarding a Fedayeen attack on an army brigade in Rajouri, Jammu and Kashmir was widely shared and circulated. Upon fact-checking, PIB confirmed that no such Fedayeen or suicide attack occurred on any army cantonment. The false claims were solely intended to mislead and cause confusion. This video was accordingly flagged off. Mislead and cause confusion. This video was accordingly flagged off. A confidence in military preparedness to the army officer of Northern Command. Well, fact-checking the same found that General V.K. Narayan is not even the COAS and confirmed the letter to be completely fake. A social media post claimed that the Indian military used Ambala Air Base to attack Amritsar and its own people, its own citizens. Fact-check found the claim to be absolutely baseless and part of a concerted misinformation campaign. In response, the government provided a detailed press release of the Ministry of Defence and exposed the real picture. A social media post was allegedly shared claiming that entry bans into airports across India. Fact-check busted and debunked the fake narrative and flagged the same, since there was no such decision taken by the government. Image of multiple explosions at Jammu Air Force Base in India. That was claimed. The fact is, this image that you see on your screens right now is from the Kabul airport blast in August 2021. A video showing heavy multiple launch rocket systems barrage is being falsely shared as a real Pakistani attack on India. That video actually went insanely viral. On fact-checking, it was revealed that the video is from a video game and has been online for 3 years. It has no connection to the current India-Pakistan situation. Pakistani social media handles are claiming that a Sukhoi 30 MKI was shot down in Muzaffarabad, capturing an Indian pilot alive. After fact-check, it is revealed that this Sukhoi of the Indian Air Force crashed near Pune Ahmednagar highway in Maharashtra, and this incident is actually as old as 2014. Since the strike has begun in Pakistan, social media is buzzing with all sorts of fake news. Let's take a look at some of the myths here. Video of Colonel Sofia Qureshi leading Operation Sindoor. The fact is, this video is from 2021 and the video is of US Reno Airways. It shows pilot Major Christian Beowulf. It's not even Colonel Sofia. Massive army casualties at the Sanghar post opposite Pakistan's Chirikot sector. That was a claim. The fact is that the video was created from a 2007 photo where Indian Jawans carried the body of a rebel. The video of PAF attack in Amritsar on May 7, 2025. The fact is that the video, what you see on your screens right now, is actually from 2024. It shows Israel's Iron Dome intercepting rockets from Lebanon. And We at India Today are repeatedly busting all the myths and all the social media propaganda that has in fact picked up pace and how. We will be getting you more on the other side of this very quick commercial break. Do stay with us.
H60 Pro, the edge of excellence.
Motorola Edge 60 Pro. Hello, Moto.
Motorola H60 Pro, the edge of excellence.
Hi, here are the top headlines presented by Motorola. Heavy tension on India-Pakistan border. 3 Pakistani fighter jets downed in Indian strike. Major meeting of Rajnath Singh with CDS and chiefs of the armed force.
Welcome back. Amid heightened tensions between Pakistan and India, the last 72 hours have been extremely intense. On the 8th of May, Pakistan attempted to infiltrate Indian territory once again. The attempt was successfully foiled by our brave forces across multiple regions. The incursion primarily targeted the Jammu region. Pakistan attempted strikes on the Jammu airport and Jammu University. Additional targets included Udhampur, Pathankot and Jaisalmer in Rajasthan. India's Sudarshan Chakra S-400 missile system thwarted Pakistan's attack. India successfully shot down 1 F-16 jet, 2 JF-17s and multiple missiles and drones. In retaliation, India launched strikes on Lahore. Loud explosions were reported in Peshawar and near the Bahawalnagar cantonment. In Bahawalnagar Cant, people rushed out of their homes as sirens blared. Mosque loudspeakers urged residents to turn off all household lights. Authorities have yet to release an official statement though.
A rattled Pakistan made a failed attempt to target Jammu's airport and other vital installations in Jammu city and in Jammu and Kashmir. Right now we are standing outside Jammu's airport. There is complete blackout here. Earlier in the evening, Pakistan sent armed drones. Pakistan lobbed missiles towards vital installations in Jammu, whether it was Jammu airport and other army installations in Jammu, Udhampur and other places. But our alert security forces foiled the nefarious designs of Pakistan. We had already activated our air defense system S-400 and with the help of that we were able to repel Pakistan's attacks, not only in Jammu and Kashmir but also in neighboring Punjab, because Pakistan also tried to target the air base in Pathankot district of Punjab. We have successfully shot down 3 fighter jets of Pakistan. This includes 2 JF-17 fighter jets and 1 F-16 fighter jet. So Pakistan is rattled. It tried to escalate tensions. It tried to target Jammu city and other places. But our alert troops on ground have foiled the nefarious designs of Pakistan. We had already activated our air defense system, and with the help of that, we were able to shoot down Pakistani drones and Pakistani missiles. With video journalist Neeraj Kumar, this is Sunil Bhatt reporting from outside Jammu's airport for India Today.
All right, and telling you a little about what the Defence Minister of Pakistan is saying. Khwaja Asif has said that Pakistan is ready to wrap up tensions with India if New Delhi de-escalates the situation. Take a look.
Some of the countries in the Arabian Gulf also, who are close to us, and obviously they have a good relationship with India also, they have also advised that de-escalation should take place immediately. But India is making it, it's almost impossible. Every day there is an incident which raises the bar of conflict in the subcontinent.
And External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar, during a bilateral with Iranian Foreign Minister Saeed Abbas, gave a stern reply saying India does not intend to escalate tensions with Pakistan but will give a firm response if there are military attacks on India. Listen in.
Excellency, you are visiting India at a time when we are responding to a particularly barbaric terrorist attack on 22nd April in the Indian Union territory of Jammu and Kashmir. This attack compelled us to respond on 7th May by striking at cross-border terrorist infrastructure. Our response was targeted and measured. It is not our intention to escalate the situation. However, if there are military attacks on us, there should be no doubt that it will be met with a very, very firm response. As a neighbor and a close partner, it is important that you have a good understanding of the situation.
It's day 15 of ceasefire violations by Pakistan along the line of control. In Uri, one death has been reported following a ceasefire violation by Pakistan in the border area. With this, the total death toll has now reached 15 as of yesterday. Pakistan is not just targeting houses, it's also attacking religious places. These visuals show that Pakistan has attacked a temple, a gurudwara, and even a masjid, a mosque. The Pakistan Army has targeted multiple locations along the LOC, or the line of control. The most heavily hit area was Poonch, where around 13 people were killed. During the ceasefire, Pakistani forces are targeting innocent civilians and their homes. As seen in the pictures, people are suffering. The houses are badly damaged and affected.
ये पूरा घर है, घर पूरा टूट गया है। अंदर की तरफ भी हम दिखाना चाहेंगे तो ऑपरेशन सिंदूर के बाद पाकिस्तानी फौज को करारा झटका लगा है। जो पाकिस्तान में आतंकी ठिकाने थे, सिर्फ उसको भारत ने निशाना बनाया और बार-बार भारत ने कहा कि वो सिविलियन को निशाना नहीं बना रहा है। लेकिन ये जो खुद मकबूल खान है, बाकायदा ये दिखा रहे हैं, दिखाते हुए देखिए, ये दिखा रहे हैं, ये सब है, ये सारी शेलिंग में टूटी है।
बिल्कुल शेलिंग में सर, ये बिल्कुल निशाना बनाया गया, जैसा चुन के मकान बनाया गया।
आप ये देख पा रहे हैं जो मकबूल खान का ये घर है और देखिए कितनी हैवी शेलिंग हो रही है। जो पूरा घर का काफी मजबूत ये घर है, घर के जब ये शेलिंग हुई है रात के वक्त, तो इस तरीके से जो पूरा घर के अंदर जो शेलिंग है वो अंदर घुसी। और उसके बाद लेकिन आपको ये भी बता दूं कि जो भारतीय फौज है वो करारा जवाब भी दे रही है और पीओके के साइड जो बंकर है पाकिस्तान आर्मी के, उनको उनके पर खच्चे उड़ा दिए। तो करारा जवाब मिल रहा है। अगर यहाँ एक घर के अंदर, जहाँ इस वक्त कुपवाड़ा में मौजूद हूँ, यहाँ अगर एक घर के अंदर कोई शेलिंग होती है तो भारतीय सेना उसका दुगने लेवल पर जवाब देती है। और दिखाना चाहेंगे कहाँ, देखिए यहाँ से जो शेलिंग है वो तोड़ करके आई। और सामने की तरफ भी मैं आपको दिखाना चाहूंगा, ये आसपास के जो तमाम घर हैं इनको निशाना बनाया जा रहा है। और इसीलिए मकबूल कह रहे हैं कि जो आम कश्मीरी मुसलमान हैं उनके घर को ही निशाना पाकिस्तानी फौज बना रही है। तो ये सीधे सीधे कायराना हरकत है। सामने की तरफ भी देखेंगे तो जो पूरा घर है, इन तमाम जो घर हैं उनको निशाना बनाया जा रहा। सीधे ग्राउंड जीरो से आज तक इंडिया टुडे की हम रिपोर्ट दिखा रहे हैं।
All right, in about 40 minutes from now, the Ministry of External Affairs will be holding a briefing that is scheduled at 5:30 later in the evening. The International Monetary Fund is also going to do a bit of a review and reassessment on funding to Pakistan. We're going to be keeping a very close eye on all of those developments. For the moment, we're wrapping up this edition. Thank you for watching.
Motorola Edge 60 Pro, the edge of excellence.
While covering news, there is no room for fluff. No distractions. No dodging the truth. No blanks, no misfires. Just sharp, fearless journalism. Every story, every debate, every question, straight to the point.
Weather forecast now. Delhi, maximum 37 and minimum 27 degrees. Mumbai, maximum 31 and minimum 25 degrees. Kolkata, maximum 43 and minimum 28 degrees. Bangalore, maximum 31 and minimum 23 degrees. Chennai, maximum 34 and minimum 28 degrees. Hyderabad, maximum 37 and minimum 23 degrees.
Sorry.
Ora ni ot. Ot.
Ui, ada.
Maya, oh.
presented by Panasonic AC, trusted AC for smart homes.
India goes for Pakistan's jugular. India hits back after Pakistan escalation. Pakistan missiles, drones neutralized. Sudarshan Chakra S-400 in action. Akash missile brought down Pak JF-17 jet. Indian forces show their might. India's Operation Sindoor. Top focus on 5 Live.
After India hit Pakistan at multiple locations as part of Operation Sindoor, and that was punishing Pakistan's state-sponsored radical Islamist terror, Pakistan tried to target 24 locations in India in the past 12 hours. 24 locations. Pakistan sent across 500 drones, but not one succeeded. And I want to show you this area. This is Jammu and Kashmir. This is Punjab. This is Rajasthan. And this is Gujarat. So all along this belt, Pakistan sent in 500 drones. Not one succeeded in penetrating that security armor, that Suraksha Kavach called the integrated missile defense shield that India has. And over the course of the next 1 hour, my colleague Sandeep Unnithan, who joins me in the India Today special broadcast, and I will get you all details along with India Today's finest team of reporters on Ground Zero. I'm Gaurav Sawant. As always, let's get started with the headlines on 5 Live. India hits back after Pakistan's escalation. Heavy damage to Lahore and several Pakistani cities, according to top government sources. A military drone hits the Okhara cantonment in Pakistan's Punjab province. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and top ministers in multiple huddles. The Prime Minister monitors military situation on a minute-to-minute basis. Union Home Minister Amit Shah chairs a border security meeting. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh meets the tri-services chiefs. 7 infiltrators killed attempting to cross over from the Samba border in Jammu. Suspected Jaish-e-Mohammed terrorists killed in a BSF operation at the India-Pakistan border. Undetonated Chinese missile found in a field in Punjab. The Chinese PL-15 long-range air-to-air missile recovered intact. Missile likely from the downed Pakistani JF-17 fighter jet. Pakistan Defence Minister Khwaja Asif's bizarre logic says Pakistan did not intercept Indian drones to maintain secrecy of its defence locations. Pakistan becomes a global laughing stock. The situation along the line of control and the India-Pakistan border, all along India's western flank and Pakistan's eastern flank, remains extremely precarious. Pakistan tried to send in its drones, its rockets, its missiles and fighter jets. This is the area where Pakistan attempted to do so. So this is Jammu and Kashmir. There was an attempt near Jammu. This is Punjab. There was an attempt in multiple locations in Punjab. This is Rajasthan. And somewhere here in the Jaisalmer belt, Pakistan tried. This is Gujarat. Again in Gujarat, Pakistan tried to send in its drones, and there were 500 drones that were sent, almost like a swarm drone attack in multiple locations. But Bharat has this Abhedya Suraksha Kavach, impenetrable, completely impenetrable security blanket, so to say, a missile defense shield. And this missile defense shield not just comprises the S-400 systems from Russia, but also the indigenous Akash system and much more. Before I get you more on this big story, I want to quickly cut across to my colleague Sandeep Unithan for more on this. And Sandeep, Pakistan tried. It's not that Pakistan is not trying, it's not succeeding. Explain to us why, despite its best efforts, the Chinese technology, the weapons and systems that China has, why isn't Pakistan succeeding?
Well, Gaurav, the short answer for that is the Indian Air Force's IACCS, the Integrated Air Command and Control System, which is an air defense network that covers most of northern and western India. And this grid has been built by the Air Force over several decades. Now, what it is essentially comprises of, it's got a range of missiles in different capabilities, different missile systems, the centerpiece of which you mentioned is the S-400 missile system. It's a very, very capable missile system, and the Air Force was fully aware of its capabilities. They told the government this, and this is the reason that the Narendra Modi government, way back in 2018, Gaurav, took on the United States. They took on the risk of CATSA sanctions from the United States to buy 5 of these systems from the Russian Federation. And that bold decision, that diplomatic muscle that they showed with the United States, standing up to the US pressure, has now paid off such rich dividends 7 years later. This is a huge investment for our air defense network, Gaurav. You cannot underestimate the importance of that very, very significant decision we took 7 years back. Of course, there are other components to the IACCS, which is basically a large grid. You have something called the RASP, the RASP, which is a rapidly emerging air situation picture, which connects all airborne and ground-based sensors to give a complete 360-degree picture of the entire airspace, the battle space around India, the northern and western parts of India. So the Air Force controllers on the ground can, in one fell swoop, they can look at the entire picture, down that entire location, that 3,000 kilometer border, right from Jammu and Kashmir down to Gujarat. And, you know, they have a full air situation picture, and then they can start allocating resources, which missile is going to tackle which threat. And in this case, Gaurav, the drones that the Pakistanis have attacked us with, 500 drones, most of them low-cost, drones. I mean, they're literally expendable drones. They just sent it across for propaganda purposes, I would think.
Or, you know, I think Pakistan is evil as a state, and especially the army wouldn't trust them. In fact, there are many in the security apparatus in India who say several things about Pakistan, which I will tell some of you offline, because online, when they say you see somebody who's wearing a Pakistan Army uniform and a snake, you know who's to be taken down first.
Well, the mask has certainly fallen off the Pakistan military and its support for terrorism, Gaurav, and that is something that we've seen in the last 48 hours, where it's unprecedented, a military funeral for a terrorist, and you have soldiers standing side by side with terrorists, designated terrorists. What is the message that Pakistan is sending out to the world?
As you very rightly pointed out, the mask is off. There's breaking news coming in, and I want to get you details of the big story. We will show you on camera how India downed Pakistan's swarm drone attack. This is an India Today exclusive report. You're watching real time how India saw the threat coming in and how Pakistan's attack was neutralized. These are those images that show you. This is an India Today exclusive. An Indian Army and Air Force together thwarted the April 8 drone strike by Pakistan with what is being described as one of the most successful systems, the L-70, the Akash system, the Zu-23 system. And this is like a coordinated response from the Indian Army and the Indian Air Force. Jointmanship works so perfectly. The drone attack happened, and in a timely manner. You know, there's an old saying, in the armed forces, being forewarned is being forearmed. 20 soft kills, according to the army, on the 8th of May. And look at the timing also visible there. 8 p.m., to 11:30 p.m. That is where Pakistan carried out raids with 500 small unmanned aerial vehicles in 24 cities from Jammu and Kashmir, across Punjab, across Rajasthan to Gujarat in India. And that entire effort, it just failed. It just failed because India was so much better prepared. And I want to bring in India Today's ace defense correspondent Shivani Sharma, who joins me on this broadcast. Shivani, bring us details. Your sources have given you these images. You've accessed these images. The big picture that emerges, Shivani.
Gaurav, these are the exclusive images of the swarm drone attack that was directed towards India in several cities, more than 24 cities and locations in India yesterday night between 8:30 and 11:30. The timelines are also very specific, right after when sirens were sounded in Jammu. And we saw how these projectiles were moving in different locations, and the air defense system of the country thwarted all these swarm drones. So this was a big offense that Pakistan had attempted, and India neutralized the threat within no time, Gaurav. And this is how Pakistan's swarm drones, and 500, not 2, not 3, but 500 swarm drones in different locations across the western border, across the states, right from Jammu and Kashmir to Punjab to Rajasthan. They were all directed towards the locations of these cities, not only the military locations, but also where the people are residing, the residents. So the civilian population was also on target, but the air defense system, which is a combination of multiple assets, starting from the S-400 to the Akash missiles, the Petrora missiles, the unarmed counter air defense systems. So all this was in place. This multiple layered air defense system neutralized the threat in no time, and this was again a failed attempt by Pakistan, the misadventure that was dealt with strongly by India. Gaurav.
Okay, and Shivani, the systems, the fact that the army and the air force operate together seamlessly, how are they explaining this Pakistani, or what sources are saying at least some of these drones that the Pakistanis sent were unarmed? Were they testing our defenses, or were they making us spend very expensive ammunition in neutralizing worthless drones, and the real attack perhaps would follow later?
Gaurav, this seems to be a panic action from Pakistan, a very bad strategically planned action that was failed within no time. And it now seems that they've been testing our shield over the skies. That's what we can only say, because all of these attempts have been thwarted within no time. This is happening across states, Gaurav. This is Jammu and Kashmir, the Jammu airport, the Srinagar airport, Punjab. Major defense establishments were also, remember, before yesterday, there was an attempt by Pakistan the prior night, also following the Operation Sindoor, that was also thwarted by India, and all the Pakistani drones were brought down. They all landed in their debris on Indian soil. This was the second attempt, mind you, that happened yesterday evening, starting 8:30 onwards, that kept on in various locations, right from Rajasthan's Jaisalmer to Jammu Airport, Jammu City, Arispura sector, and many other sectors in Srinagar also, in Amritsar also. So all these swarm attacks that...
For a moment, I want to bring in Sandeep Punithan on these images that you've just shared with us. The quadcopters, and rather cheap-looking Chinese quadcopters. Isn't this, Sandeep? Why would Pakistan send this? And is it actually, one, testing our defenses, two, making us poof off very expensive ammunition to take down this?
Absolutely, Gaurav. Those 2 points that you mentioned, I just want to add a third to that. This is possibly a propaganda move by Pakistan. They want to tell their citizens, look, we've attacked India in 500 different locations and we've sent all of these, drones and all that. But the visuals that we are seeing on screen right now suggest a very different picture. They've used cheap Chinese drones. And as you mentioned rightly, that this is to spoof our system, to force us to expend ammunition. But what they don't realize is that we have plenty of ammunition. There's a lots more where that came from. But, interesting, Gaurav, on the left side, you're looking at a display of possibly what I think is the display unit of the L-70 gun. That's our primary air defense gun, Gaurav. It's been in service since independence. It's a gun that was built in the 1940s. It's a Swedish-designed gun, which we have manufactured indigenously. We have over 1,000 of those guns. And this has been upgraded, Gaurav. It's been brought into the 21st century by Bharat Electronics Limited. It's one of our frontline platforms in the fight against swarm drones, unmanned aerial vehicles, missiles and aircraft, of course. It's a very, very capable system. As you can see, it's been, it's been made into a radar-directed gun now. From that manual gun, the hydraulics have been replaced by all-electric drives. It's a very sophisticated platform, and
which
it's now
just makes it all the more better. So, you know, if it's no longer hydraulic, in high altitude, it's easier. In the desert area, it's easier. Less oil, less sand getting into the system.
Absolutely.
And all of that makes it so much better.
It's all silent, Gaurav.
And it's completely silent.
It's silent, it's noiseless, and it's very effective. It's devastating. It's got a range of something like 4 to 5 kilometers, and it's got, it can fire something like 200 shells per minute. It's a very, very lethal weapon, and it's, it's actually in this upgraded avatar. We've saved a lot of money by doing this, and it's a tribute to our engineers at Bharat Electronics Limited who've done this over the last couple of years. And this is, a Second World War technology which has been upgraded and upgraded, and now it is in its final avatar. You're seeing the proof of the pudding. That's in the eating, and the eating is right in front of your eyes, Gaurav.
You know, what I want our viewers to know, when people say India is not well defended, when people say Pakistan is better off, I don't know where they get their information from. And look at India's point defense, you know, from a man-pad, a shoulder-fired surface-to-air missile and IGLA to the S-400 system. Take a look at some of the indigenous components that are coming in, and Sandeep, elaborate on it. So, yes, we also have the Zu-23, you know, those Second World War guns. Anyways, all of us who've read Commando comics would know a lot about Achtung, tak, 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 tak is what we read in those comics. But we've seen them in action. I've seen them in action in Kargil War. We'll show you that gun. The Zu-23. Then you have the 70mm. Then, you know, keep going up the chain to the Tungushka that your armor would want, your Sam Pechoras, the Shilkas. And Sandeep will explain each and every one to you. I want to talk about the Akash system. The Akash, it's a part of India's integrated missile development program. Agni, Prithvi, Akash, Nag, Trishul. 1983, if I remember the year correctly, late APJ Abdul Kalam. It was... He said, banana hai, India mein banana hai. Humko nahi chahiye missile videsh se. And, you know, Sandeep, so many people said, you can't do it. And he said, we will do it. We've done it. It's holding us in good stead in 2025 through a lot of problems that Akash system had.
Absolutely. In fact, Gaurav, the Akash is, you know, it's a tribute to India's indigenous defense capability, because this entire system, the radar, the fire control system, the trucks, the missiles itself, of course, all of it is made in India. Therefore, we can export it as a system. It's one of the very few systems that's entirely end-to-end. It's made in India. We can export the system. And indeed, we are in talks with a number of countries in Asia and in Africa for Akash missile export.
It's inexpensive.
It is inexpensive.
It's made in India. It's accurate.
It's better than the Chinese missiles.
It's yes, it's much better than the Chinese missile, and it's now battle tested.
It's battle tested indeed, and it's you know, the cornerstone of a completely indigenous range of missiles. You have the Akash, then you have the Akash new generation, the next generation, extended range. You keep building up on the capabilities, Akash, Gaurav, and that is what is the contribution of this missile system that we started way back in 1983. It's the tribute to our, you know, visionary scientists who stuck to their guns and decided to develop all of this indigenously. And today, again, Gaurav, the proof of the pudding is in the eating. The Akash is there. It's performed. It's a very, very critical component of our IACCS, and it's been used successfully in the field. And this means very well for the system and its future variants, Gaurav.
You know, for those who mock Atmanirbhar Bharat and defense, do keep in mind, Ukraine was fighting Russia. Ukraine is dependent entirely on equipment that's about, for a majority of its equipment, it's dependent on Germany, England, France, United States of America, NATO coming forward and helping them. Sometimes, and I was on ground, and Sandeep, bear me out, they would be ready for the assault. The ammunition wouldn't be there. the rockets, the missiles, the tanks, the armored personnel carriers, they won't have it. So men would go into combat without their equipment and they would be cut down. Imagine if they were making in their own country, it would have helped them. That is why Make in India is so important. Yes, it's slow. Yes, it's time consuming and we need to improve. Our scientists need to improve. Our engineers need to improve. The delivery has to be there. It has to be flawless. But there is no alternative to Make in India.
There's no alternative indeed, Gaurav. You hit the nail on the head. If you want to be a power of some standing, you have to build your own missile systems. You have to build your own defense capabilities. Otherwise, like you correctly pointed out, you are at the mercy of your foreign suppliers. They probably say, sell you the weapons. They might not sell you the weapons. They will decide the schedule for the delivery of the components and parts and all that. And you have to keep running back to them. And this is how big countries control narratives. They control smaller countries by this. And what you're actually doing, Gaurav, when you import weapons, you are actually importing security. And this is something that you cannot compromise on. You can't compromise on your own national security. And that is the reason there is no alternative but to develop your own weapon systems.
Atmanirbhar Bharat is essential. Remember, look at Pakistan, for example. Pakistan is forced to do a sajda to China. And kowtow. Kowtow is the word, the Chinese word. Sajda is the Pakistani word. But that is what Pakistan does. Sometimes it does a sajda to the United States of America. Sometimes it does a sajda to China. Sometimes it will do a sajda to anybody else. But all it will do is a sajda. I mean, they're permanently on their knees, like right now, in front of the International Monetary Fund.
They've shifted from one foreign supplier to another one. They've moved from the United States towards China. 80% of their recent arms imports, Gaurav, are of Chinese origin. So the Chinese, again, are going to be holding the screws on Pakistan. They are going to tell them what to do. They are going to tell them the kind of weapons that they get. They will decide the caliber, the characteristics, the marks, all of that. This is a capability that you get when you develop your own missile system. Nobody tells you what you
for a moment, as we look at the Pakistani weapons and why Pakistani weapons failed and the Indian weapons, why they're doing so good, it's actually a combination that India has. And it's amazing when you look at these Chinese HQ-16, for example, based on the S-300s of Russia, remade by China, sold the LV-80 version, sold to Pakistan.
Yes.
So their foreign version, anyway, I believe, is subpar.
Is subpar. It would be definitely 1 or 2 levels below what the Chinese forces use. So that's the game that big countries play. They will never sell top-of-the-line weapons of their own to other countries. They will always sell degraded versions of that. They don't want their weapons to be used, against themselves. So that is the kind of things that they do when they handle weapons exports. But this is a lesson for us as well, Gaurav. The Chinese, look at the Chinese. In the last 20 or 25 years, they've gone from importing a lot of Russian hardware to now copying it, duplicating it, and now exporting them.
Yes.
In the face of global opposition and, of course, competing against Russian systems
this
themselves.
image that we see on our television screens right now, that PL-15 long-range air-to-air missile.
Gaurav, you are looking at one of the biggest intelligence coup in several years. Now, the United States, for one, would pay for the weight in gold for that missile that the Punjab policemen are handling over there. That's a PL-15, very long-range Chinese missile. It's rarely been seen in public. It's possibly been used, fired for the first time. And this is something that I can confirm that our scientists are looking at it very closely right now. They're examining its characteristics. This is a missile that has literally emerged from behind the bamboo curtain, Gaurav. And this has been supplied to Pakistan very recently as tensions began ratcheting up. It's part of the Pakistan Air Force.
But it has an amazing range of almost 200 kilometers.
It's believed to have a range of something like 200 kilometers. And I'm sure our scientists, our DRDO scientists, are studying the characteristics of this weapon even as we speak. They must be taking it apart to try and understand its characteristics and how it matches against our own indigenous DRDO long-range air-to-air missile, the Astra.
Astra. I also want to understand from you right now, the Chinese commanders would probably be slapping the Pakistani Air Force for for letting go of a PL-15 like this.
Absolutely, Gaurav.
Because the Chinese secrets are out in the open.
Chinese secrets are out in the open, and Gaurav, I very well see the PL-15 being the top of the agenda in India-US talks. In the next round of defense dialogue, the United States would ask to see these missiles, because let's not forget, Gaurav, these are the kind of missiles that the United States is going to be facing if a conflict were to break out over Taiwan. Yeah. US fighters are going to be tracked and picked up by and targeted by missiles like the PL-15. I'm sure the United States would want to have a very, very close look at the PL-15. In fact, forget the United States.
So from the Guam base, there's a C-130J that will be landing.
Possibly a C-17, Gaurav.
Or a C-17.
Which would already be here, and you would have experts queuing up to study this missile. It's a very, very enigmatic missile. We've seen mock-ups of it, we've seen dummies of it in arms exhibitions, but we've never seen an actual missile being fired in combat. And that is an intelligence windfall, Gaurav.
So before I bring in our reporters and our guests, and as we are waiting for the briefing of Operation Sindoor by the Ministry of External Affairs and Defense, I want to understand, what is your assessment of the Chinese equipment? Hasn't it proven to be rather subpar, whether it is the equivalent of their S-300s or the longer range air defense systems? They've all been rather subpar, or the JF-17 Thunders or the J-10Cs.
Well, the Chinese weapons, Gaurav, let's face it, they are a generation below the Russian systems. They've reverse engineered a whole lot of Russian systems. We know all of that. But the important thing is that both the J-10s and the J-17s use Russian engines.
Yes.
Right? And that is something, they use the same engines, the RD-33 that's used by the MiG-29, for instance. So that's again, a case of China being dependent on Russia for fighter jet engines. So, I mean, these are...
But, if we were to talk about the JF-17 Thunders,
yes,
Chinese don't use them themselves. They found them subpar, so they palmed it off to Pakistan.
So they palmed it off to the Pakistanis, because this is the kind of jet that the Pakistanis want to replace their variants of the MiG-21. So, the JF-17s would be very similar to our light combat aircraft, the LCA Tejas, which we've been developing from the 1980s, and which is now coming in the numbers that we want it to replace all of the MiG-21s, in fact. So this would be very similar to our LCA. But, like you correctly pointed out, the fact that it's not good enough to enter PLA service.
It's not good enough for PLA.
Not good for the PLA.
To the Pakistanis.
And it's a cheap export option for a number of air forces.
African countries are
African countries, Bangladesh is looking at it, possibly Sri Lanka as well.
Okay. So apart from Africa, you have two neighbors of ours that may look at this, but after they've seen the subpar performance, and I'm told that two of them have been lost, we're waiting for an official confirmation whether that comes or not. What we're also looking at is the J-10C, the multi-role fighter jet, again was said to be better. Right. The latest version with the PL-15s, and I believe the PL-15s air-to-air missiles now come with an extended range beyond 200 kilometers.
Beyond 200 kilometers, that's what we've been told. That's again another enigmatic missile. We haven't seen that missile being used in combat yet, Gaurav. But the J-10 that you're seeing on screen right now is a very interesting aircraft. It has a history. It's actually based on an Israeli design called the Lavi. Now, the Lavi itself was an Israeli copy of the F-16 Fighting Falcon, and that is something that the Chinese copied, and now they've sold it to the Pakistanis 3 years ago, 2022 to be precise. And the Pakistan Air Force acquired these only to kind of achieve parity with India. When our Rafale started being delivered, it was a kind of a propaganda move for them to say that now we've acquired a new aircraft that we believe is going to be equal or better than the Rafale. Of course, that's completely untrue, because the Rafale can completely outclass the J-10. There is nothing literally in the subcontinent that can match, a Rafale. No fourth or 4.5 generation aircraft can beat the Rafale.
I want to quickly bring in Shivani Sharma into this conversation once again, because Shivani, you were directly in the line of fire with a number of our reporters across from Jammu and Kashmir, down Punjab, through Rajasthan till Gujarat. But is the situation as bad right now? What is the bigger picture that you're picking up?
Gaurav, since morning there has no shelling that has been reported at the line of control. The severe shelling that continued through the night stopped over the day, but we saw the evacuations happening. People are still under tension and worry. They are under fear that what would happen tonight, because the things are quite uncertain, and this uncertainty is causing a lot of tension to the people, because line of control is there where the ceasefire violations have been happening since last, especially the artillery guns have been firing upon the civilians in these areas. So there is tension. People are hoping and praying that the things settle down fast. There should be no escalation from Pakistan's side, because if it happens, then India will also respond forcefully. And further, then that what we are calling it, an escalation ladder, will go high and severely impact, especially the people who are on line of control, because ceasefire violations are continuing from Pakistan, and that too with full intensity.
And they indeed are. When we talk about the escalation ladder, let's look at what's been happening ever since India struck terror central Pakistan's Punjab province at Murid-ke, at Bahawalpur, in Sialkot, along with other locations in Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir. I want to understand from you, we struck multiple locations, our missiles went through. Does that completely expose Pakistan's air defense system? Point one. Next day, when they attempted to strike, attempts failed. When we hit back, we took down some of their missile defense systems, also struck places close to GHQ in Rawalpindi, struck Lahore, struck several other locations. Again, when last night they tried, government is, we will hear officially from the government in just about a minute plus. Their attempts did not succeed, though they tried 26 different locations with 500 drones. Will they escalate? Are we going up the escalation ladder? Or is this some kind of a situation where they are saying they're fighting back? It does appear to be a feeble fight back, unless their real fight back happens only now.
Well, Gaurav, you know, a feeble fight back is quite possible, because what has happened in the last 48 hours has completely spooked the Pakistan military. They did not wargame the possibility of such swift Indian retaliation. First Operation Sindoor, the first phase, then the second phase of Operation Sindoor. And the government doesn't seem to be backing down in the face of Pakistan's threats. And this is, as we were discussing, Gaurav, this appears to be retribution for 25 years of Pakistan using terrorism as an instrument of state policy. They're not just being called out only for Pahalgam, Gaurav. They're being called out for every single major sensational terror attack that the Pakistan military has carried out against Indian targets, against Indian civilians, massacring Indian civilians in Mumbai, in Pahalgam, in Jammu and Kashmir, in Gujarat, in Uttar Pradesh, all across India. Now is the time for payback. And this is what has spooked the Pakistan military.
What gives us the impression that the Pakistan army is spooked and it's not lulling us into thinking that they're not retaliating? We relax and suddenly, because Pakistan, at least their army or their military jihad complex, that's evil. This morning, there was an infiltration attempt. 7 Jaish-e-Mohammed terrorists were killed at Samba. So, you know, I don't think either you or I, and remember, Sandeep is from Mumbai. 1993 blast, 257 people were killed. 2006 blast, 200 people were killed. 2611, another 166 people were killed.